You're listening to Pave Media Show.
Visit pavemedia.net for more podcasts and video entertainment.
Welcome, everyone, to the MCU special, part 1 of a 4-part specialty series that we're going to be doing. Before we get started, though, we were kind of in the middle of a conversation. We decided to record.
I guess.
But
who are we first?
We are the Victor Podcast. I'm Ben and T. McClure. With me, as always, Ben Magnet.
I'm Thor, the god of thunder.
Ryan Eliopoulos.
I thought you were Iron Man.
Oh, you're right.
Sparks.
Hey.
So what are you, Bruce Banner?
Yeah, I'm super awkward and sometimes
So
I get angry, I guess.
The difference between us, what we're going to do, and other specials that are probably going to be doing this is we are not going in release order. We are going in continuity order. A point of contention for a lot of fans and a lot of even the MCU itself.
Don't really understand why, but all right, screw it.
So, we were talking, Ryan, what was your continuity order?
I said Thor was first because the very first thing we see is 795 AD.
Ryan, seriously.
956.
956, thank you. What do I think the order is?
Yeah, so, real quick, what did you say was the order?
I said it was Captain America.
Yes.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
I messed up and said something else, but it's Iron Man
Said the
2.
Incredible Hulk.
Incredible
after
Hulk.
Iron Man. Yeah.
But like
And then we said no.
the last three are basically interchangeable, kind of, in a way.
Okay, Ben,
Yeah.
and then you said...
Captain America, Captain America, First Avenger, Iron Man 2, the Incredible Hulk, Thor: The Dark World, and then we go into
not
Avengers.
Thor: The Dark World. Excuse
No,
me.
frack, Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually Sparks and I have entered into many a healthy debate over this lineup of the Phase 1 films.
Go on.
So and basically, Sparks, you say,
Do you mean my order?
yeah,
I used to say I used to argue that Captain America should still come before Avengers. I kind of held to release order, I guess,
yeah,
for these ones. After a while, I decided that Captain America did fit better before, and I put Iron Man after, or Incredible Hulk after Iron Man. But now I say Captain America, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Thor.
So okay, so I would say, and for the longest time, I would always say Captain America, Iron Man 2, Thor: The Incredible Hulk, and the only reason why is because there's a prequel comic called Fury's Big Week. It's an Avengers Prelude comic.
Yes.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yes.
Those comics aren't very good anymore, but they started out pretty strong. The Black Widow one specifically, I think, is actually pretty good. Basically saying that Thor, Iron Man 2, and The Incredible Hulk all take place within a week. The Incredible Hulk being a week's time in just timeline of the movie. So The Incredible Hulk ends at the farthest point of that timeline at that point, according to that comic. Now, watching these films, I started watching them in release order this time. Watching them in that order, I was like, no, I could totally see how The Incredible Hulk should go before Iron Man and Iron Man 2. Which is...
Oh, before Iron Man?
No, between
You
Iron
said
Man...
Iron Man and Iron Man.
Sorry, it's between Iron Man 2 and Iron Man.
Okay.
And that was something that I didn't
Agree with.
And you texted me that you finally saw
I did.
So now we're reversed again, but on the sides that we used to.
So my counter argument to this has always been I read that same comic because I borrowed it from Brandon, and I just don't enjoy it that much. I've never been a big fan of the idea that all three of these happened in a week anyway.
That seems real
Convoluted.
Inconvenient, yeah.
I've never been a big fan of that. For me, it's always been about what makes the most enjoyable marathon experience without extenuating information. If I'm a person who just watches the movies and I'm not thinking about some comic continuity, I think it looks better to watch now, personally, my opinion, it looks better to watch Captain America, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Thor. Because I think the movies flow to each other better. The cues for them are more... Like, the things you see to tee up the next one.
And
I think they
we
flow
watched
better.
it in that order, right?
No, we watched Incredible Hulk after Iron Man.
Oh,
And when we were done, that's when you asked me, like, oh, so wait, when does we will finish Iron Man 2? And you're like, oh, so the consultant thing from Incredible Hulk happens after this, right? Yeah. And I'm like, yes, it does. And I'd always thought that moment queued up Iron Man 2 a little better. But watching it this time, I was like, oh, no, I guess watch Iron Man 2 because you see the footage from the
Incredible
Culver
Hulk.
University stuff at the end of Iron Man 2. And that cues up Incredible Hulk, and you go to that. And then I like Thor as a lead into Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't like Incredible Hulk as a lead into Avengers. I don't think that makes good marathon order.
So now my whole thing is I had a really hard time getting through Iron Man 2 this time. I don't think that movie's aging very well, and I think specifically this one, like, whoa boy, oh boy. So I think having from going from Iron Man to Iron Man 2, that's rough. So putting Incredible Hulk in between there,
A breather.
You need a breather.
Yeah.
You need that breather.
Yeah,
So-
I'm actually because when we watched it with in the order of Sparks, Ryan, and I, we watched it Captain America, Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, then Thor. And I actually really liked how we talked or how we saw how we saw Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 1 went into the Incredible Hulk, had a nice little breather, and then went to Iron Man 2. But we were talking a lot during Iron Man 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a lot during Thor, but that's just because Thor's fun.
Yeah, I think I do think that when you're marathoning, it's kind of nice to have a break between Iron Man and Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but I can also see the merit of Incredible Hulk after Iron Man 2. I get it.
Yeah,
I don't agree with Thor before Incredible Hulk at all.
No.
I don't think that makes good marathon watching.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think Incredible Hulk should be last for sure.
Right.
Definitely not.
Go leading into a different Hulk immediately.
I think part of that is also just the Incredible Hulk came out the same year as Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
And if
month
you
apart.
put it right after you've watched Thor, it really feel like a step backward.
Well, also, I like how at the very end of Iron Man, because when I first saw Iron Man back in 2008, I didn't see till the end of credits. I didn't know there was a thing after
messed
that.
up.
And then when I went a few weeks later, I go into Incredible Hulk, and then Tony Stark walks in. He's like, "Hey, we're putting a team together." That's when the gears in my head started turning, going, "No."
Yeah.
Did you know about the Avengers? Did you know who the Avengers were at the time?
I did. The way I knew the Avengers was that it was the Marvel version of the Justice League.
That's not.
I'm not wrong.
I knew the Avengers. I knew the Avengers because I was steeped in the Ultimate Comics at the time.
I knew
Both
the
of us.
Avengers had Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. Those were the only big three I knew.
I was born with a Marvel comic in my hand, so like I knew all this stuff.
Okay, so
This is like in the days before I went like really deep into nerd stuff like I am now.
So let's go through it.
You merely adopted the nerd. I was born into it.
Bitch, I was born in the nerd too. Do you
He's
know
literally
referencing-
Just said.
I was talking about like I would not
No,
in
I
the
know.
Marvel side. I was more of a DC kid. You know
Yeah,
this.
So let's get into it movie by movie.
Okay.
So let's do.
What order are we going in?
We'll get there. I don't know. I was hoping this would solve a problem. It didn't.
It's a
it's-
conversation about the first phase.
I think it's really just is Incredible Hulk before Iron Man 2, after Iron Man 2, or no?
I think for the breather of Iron Man 2 is a rough film. You need a break.
You need the break
I think
Yeah, I
between Iron Man and Iron Man 2.
Yes.
I
Great.
think having
Wow. All these years later, you finally come around to that thinking.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wait,
okay,
so-
I'm fine with that.
We
so
solved
we're
it.
for sure agreeing that we should that you should sandwich Incredible Hulk or you should
Iron Man sandwich. Yeah.
Iron
Even
Man
though-
sandwich where the Incredible Hulk has the juicy center.
And we'll talk about it,
All
but
right.
even
It's a
though
meaty center.
Tony Stark is queued up as the consultant at the end of Iron Man 2,
mm-hmm.
and that's technically before the end of Incredible Hulk, you'd still watch Incredible Hulk before Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Just because that post-credit scene is at the end of the movie doesn't mean it takes place at the same time.
It's not a post-credit scene.
But you know what I
It's
mean.
the end of the film.
That's what I mean. But like, it
It's
could
the
still be
epilogue.
some time after.
Right.
Like,
Now,
weird.
right.
Yeah.
Did Incredible Hulk get a little bit worse than I remember? Because I
No.
remember watching Incredible Hulk when I first saw it in theaters. I thought it was great.
We'll get there. Let's
Yeah,
start with
okay.
Captain
Let's get
America.
into it.
Captain America first?
I
Okay.
firmly disagree. So
I said a little bit, not that much.
Captain America, the First Avenger.
Yeah.
My favorite Marvel movie.
Is it still your favorite Marvel movie?
Still.
Okay.
Yeah. What do we think about this one? First impressions going into it. How has
First
that
impressions
changed?
going into it again.
No.
I've seen this movie 9
In the
How
times.
many
beginning.
times have we
And-
seen this movie?
Remember,
Boy, I don't know if I remember.
like shoot back to 2011. What did you guys think about this?
I was
initially?
again like, and because I was a Marvel shill since birth. Like, I believed in all of this. I believed in the casting for everyone. I was like, man, all this looks cool. Like, I believe that Marvel knows what they're doing, and luckily they did. So like, I'm happy with all of these movies.
Yeah,
mostly.
Ryan, that arc reactor on your chest isn't a tattoo; it's a birthmark.
You're right.
Were you at Comic-Con with us the year it
Yeah,
came
I
out?
was there.
Yeah, so you
Nice.
went to the screening with us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got the poster.
Right, yeah. That was
Very,
fun.
very
That was
cool.
a lot of fun. Like Spark said, alluded to, we saw the premiere at Comic-Con.
2011.
2011.
Lucky.
Yeah,
it was cool.
They gave us exclusive posters. They were really rad. I still have that poster. It's awesome.
Same.
yeah, and it's still like from that moment on, that movie was my favorite Marvel movie, and I don't think it's ever changed.
I'll tell you what. I always liked the movie, but I was talking to you about Sparks. Like upon reflection, knowing that like this might be Chris Evans' last role in Endgame. You know, not like he's gonna die, but his stature is over. I was like, man, this guy's had the charisma from day one.
Oh yeah,
like as like skinny young Steve, like he's always been great. That was such good casting, and that's what Marvel's really good at is getting people who are gonna last. And and it's really impressive
taking chances on people.
And seeing him grow throughout all these movies, but seeing him start as the frail Steve Rogers, man, it's a great movie.
Looking back, or even after watching first Avenger and looking into all the other Avengers movies and especially Civil War, Steve never changed. Like Tony Stark changed. Like he goes from like this cocky, like I'm gonna sleep with this smoking hot blonde the first time I see her while she's grilling me on weapons, and he goes into like more somber stuff. Where Steve he was always like, "It's the right thing to do. I'm going to do it." Even when he was like
he's a Boy Scout.
Even when he was puny and skinny, and he was getting his ass kicked every day.
First time we see the character and they're like, "Wow, a lot of people are dying out there." Almost makes you think twice about enlisting. Is nope.
Yeah,
and even when Bucky shows up, he's like, so you're from New Jersey now, huh?"
Man.
Yeah.
He tries 5 times to get in because he just wants to serve his country. He wants to do his part.
I love Stanley Tucci in the movie.
He's so good.
So much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole bit is like, I'm not interested in I'm interested in the 5 tries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like that whole thing where he's like, you know, we have a lot of big men. Perhaps all we needed I was a little guy.
Yeah.
I have love-hate feelings about this movie still because I don't like how much it skips over some of the time that I wish they'd spent more of the movie on of him actually fighting the war with the Howling Commandos and everything.
That I didn't realize is supposed to be years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I wish it was expanded on more.
Yeah, I agree.
I could give up chunks of the film in other places to get more of that time period.
You know what was interesting watching this film again, watching all these Phase 1 films again, how different their cinematography is.
It's before they molded to the Marvel method.
Like you look at the Incredible Hulk, which we'll get into, Thor, Iron Man 2 less so, but Captain America, each one has a very different cinematography style, different camera movements.
Yeah, Thor the Dutch angles.
Yeah, Thor the Dutch angles, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Kenneth Branagh loves them Dutch angles.
He is not afraid to move the camera. A lot.
Captain America's
a little
period
too
piece.
tight on faces sometimes.
Yeah. I think you know, Joe Johnston, who did Captain America: The First Avenger. I think this film.
Have you guys seen The Rocketeer?
Not yet.
No.
I own it though. I really want to see it.
Guys, if you like Captain America, just watch Rocketeer.
I'm sure. I like Joe Johnston. Johnston. This film has a. I get what you mean. You've had those thoughts since day one.
Yes. It doesn't mean I don't like the movie. I just and this has only been compounded on that the Captain America's films since have less and less. This isn't untrue. Less and less focused on Steve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't loved that. And watching this one again, I was like, man, it's really nice when there's a movie that's actually talking about Steve and focusing on Steve.
Yeah.
Because Winter Soldier's a good movie. Doesn't do it, though.
Yeah.
So much of the Phase 2 slate, which we'll get into later in the next episode. Luna.
So there's a dog chewing a big old bone.
My dog is chewing on a big old bone.
The Phase 2 slate is so much a reaction to the critic response of much of the Phase 1 slate. If you look at Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, it's all...
Is that Guardians as well?
Guardians as well, but I'm like talking about the sequels.
Oh,
There's so much reaction of how the critics responded to the Phase 1 films.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag there.
And we'll dive into that later.
Yeah.
But it is... I remember you and I having discussions way back when that we wish that Cap had never woken up in the present. That there had been multiple movies set in 1945.
Yeah, in an ideal world, I wish there had been more expanded on. I could have used... in this phase, if I could, I wish that there had been 2 Captain Americas rather than 2 Iron Mans.
Same. Yeah, set in World War II.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Especially because what we got was Iron Man 2. And we could have gotten...
and we could have gotten 2 Captain Americas set during the World War... Yeah.
But they didn't want to start with Captain America because if they had and screwed that up, then their whole franchise is tanked.
Right.
But if you start with Iron Man, and even then it doesn't screw up.
It's still taking a chance, but it's a smaller chance.
Historically, I agree that Iron Man was the way to start.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I just wish that we got 2 Captain Americas instead of 2 Iron Mans at the time.
Because of Iron Man 1 in 2008, that he became a household name. before in 2007, you go up to someone, like Casey Casual, be like, "Hey, so what do you think of Iron Man?" Iron who?
Yeah, I've said it multiple times throughout the years, but like
it's a great song.
Before that
by Black
movie,
Sabbath.
like Civil War in the comics was the biggest thing Iron Man was involved in. Like he was a C-list character. He always was, and it's through the movies that launched him into the comics into superstardom.
My brother, when the Civil War was coming out, do you remember that hoodie and that shirt of the Civil War that everyone was wearing from Hot Topic? My brother had that hoodie, and one of his bandmates, when after he got it, he pointed at Captain America like, "Ha ha, you're dead
From the
now."
movie or the comic?
Comic.
There was a Civil War hoodie from the
There
comic?
was a Civil War hoodie.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a T-shirt and a hoodie that Hot Topic sold back in the day. And my brother's buddy goes, I was like,
How
"Hey,
edgy.
that Captain America's dead," and I'm in the corner reading my Superman book, going, "He dead? What?"
He what?
They made headline news when they killed Captain America in the comics.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Captain America: The First Avenger.
First Avenger.
I think this film is.
Hugo Weaving's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Thank
the
you
Red
for
Skull.
saying that. Thank you for saying
honestly, a lot of the Phase 1 villains get a lot of flack for not being as well defined as they probably should be. But I actually think there's some gems in there, and I think Hugo Weaving's performance as the Red Skull is one of them.
that. No, Hugo
I agree.
Hugo Weaving is in Phase 1, not counting Avengers, best villain. In Phase 1.
In Phase 1,
Not counting Avengers.
Loki. Well, Loki's in Thor though, but he's
is
not
he
really
the villain though?
Yeah, because he's
definitely the villain of
He
Thor.
fights
He's the
Thor
villain.
at the end of the movie.
I would say Loki's an attack.
No, Loki's the villain of Thor.
I think I'd agree with Ben. I think Hugo Weaving is stronger in First Avenger as a villain than Loki is in Thor.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because not only does
Not that Loki isn't a good character,
Yeah.
but I think Hugo Weaving is a more effective and engaging
He is more a
villain.
traditional villain.
And
He's
also-
more engaging.
And also, Loki shows up in other films. Every single villain, besides Loki, and once again, we're not counting Avengers yet, they don't show up. I mean, maybe Red Skull's the exception because he shows up in Infinity War way down the line.
Yeah, it's like
but
it's a
back
long
in
time,
2011, we all thought he was dead.
Yeah.
Some people
I
like
never thought he was
no,
dead.
I
I was
never thought he
about
was
to
dead
mention
either.
that. I was about to mention that you, Brandon, were the
Cosmic
first
cubes.
one to tell me. Sorry, I don't mean to point.
That's okay. I don't care.
That
For those of you listening, he pointed.
I
at
was
me,
pointing, yeah.
and I was very offended.
I'm sorry. But Brandon, you were telling me that you didn't think he was dead, and I was thinking, I was like, dude, he was shot into space. That mofo
I
dead.
legitimately thought he was going to be the villain of the first Avengers movie with Loki.
Yeah.
With the Tesseract stuff, I thought he was going to make a comeback.
I always thought he was going to come back somehow.
I just didn't think it would be 10 years later.
I didn't think so. 'cause
I didn't
ever-
either until I hoped that they would bring back the Red Skull, but once Hugo Weaving said I'm out, I'm like, well, that's probably unlikely.
That's
but I
why-
never thought they killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I- yeah.
until that point, because the comic book trope at the time, or the comic book film trope, was like your villain is going to die in this movie. They're not going to.
Lots of villains died at the end of multiple
Yeah.
comic book movies.
Yep.
They're not going to live. Like we're Ironmonger's Tony, he dead.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, but they never came back except for the Red Skull and Loki.
Yeah. So Red Skull.
The Red Skull had his was
Hugo
long
Weaving's
later.
Hugo Weaving's performance is really good in this film. He's very charismatic, and I love his German accent. I went through literally every nationality before I settled on German for
Italian,
a second. I said
French.
Irish for a second. I was like, nope. His
That
German
man is British.
his German accent
Yeah.
is really good. When the reveal when he
The-
rips off his face.
Not just that, but that when he gets the punch and
Yeah,
there's just
and the
the
red.
edge
Yeah.
of the red under his eye, and
Yeah.
you're like, that looks real weird.
We forget Filch is at the beginning of this movie.
He is.
He's guarding the Tesseract.
Yeah.
I
and the Red Skull looks great.
Yeah,
He
I
does.
also
One of the-
love how when him and Steve first meet in that Hydra base, he's like, Captain America. What that?
It's
hell
fine.
kind of accent? But he's talking about, I love your comic books, because this is the point where he's
I
like,
love your
no,
films.
I love your
films.
Yeah, he's like, I love your films. He's like, oh,
I'm a great admirer of your films.
there you go. That's a better German accent than I was going for.
There's one line where like Steve's gonna break some people out of prison, and he's like, "Don't worry, I've punched Hitler over 200 times."
Yeah.
You're like, wait, what?
And then of course, like when he gets Bucky, he's like, did you grow? How'd you get taller? Join the army.
Yeah.
Talking about the Red Skull stuff and Hitler, I wish the scene where Hitler's men come to Schmidt, I kind of wish that whole scene was in German.
That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of not a good reason for it not to be, but whatever.
Eh.
Since we start the film with them speaking
Yeah.
German.
Yeah.
No, we start the film with them speaking Scandinavian.
Right. But I mean, like, it's
Yeah, I get
Hugo
what you're
even
saying.
can speak other languages, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, why aren't we doing this whole thing in German?
Yeah.
But
Berlin
that last
is on
guy's,
this map.
but that last guy's scream is great. Where he just turns from the door and he just lets out that loud scream.
Sparks, you pointed this out to me where Hugo Weaving, as Red Skull, actually counts them to remind himself there's 3 people there, so when he kills them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving.
Toby Jones is pretty good too.
Toby Jones is fun
Oh,
as
he's-
Dr. Zola.
Yeah.
I like him
Yes.
as Dr. Zola.
One of the things there's always a case. This last time for Infinity War, there's always a case for watching these movies as they were released, Because if you go from Thor to Captain America, you start seeing the building blocks of the Tesseract.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
When he holds the Tesseract and Yggdrasil shows up in the sky and he gets shot through Yggdrasil.
You were right
It's really good.
with Captain America, where the laser shots are arc reactor noises.
Yeah.
So which
They
makes
are.
me think that Howard did some shady shit
studying of the
with
Tesseract.
Hydra stuff. So the arc reactor is actually like Tesseract technology or something.
Well, that was the implication in Avengers, which
Yeah.
we're not going to touch on a
Yeah.
lot. But the new arc reactor is definitely based on
The one from the 70s.
the Tesseract.
Yeah.
No, the one that he made is based off the Tesseract.
I that's a nice little touch that they don't really build upon, but like it's there if you want to look.
Howard Stark's really great in this movie too.
Yeah,
I
he
love
is.
Dominic Cooper
He's
as
so-
Howard Stark.
oh,
He's
yeah.
so good.
And of course, Haley Atwell.
Haley Atwell.
Is a
Man, I got
angel?
to meet her
Uh-huh.
once.
Angel.
I had one of those like stupid one of the stupid like science fiction cons.
Yeah.
And I love her.
She's
I have
wonderful.
the biggest. The only show that I ever want to keep because
Agent Carter.
is Agent Carter.
Yeah.
Because those
That's
two seasons
I didn't watch
are
the second
solid.
season, but that first one's good.
Because they don't need to do anything more than they do.
No, they don't.
And
They're just
we
Agent
get
Carter.
and we get more of the Howling Commandos in it,
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes,
which
we
is
do.
nice.
Oh, Dum Dum Dugan's a little racist in this movie.
But then there's
A little
also
bit.
that appearance of the Howling Commandos and Agent Carter in a season of Shield.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Oh yeah.
I love the Howling Commandos in them. I think all of those characters. You know what? There could be more of them, but they're very well defined.
Yeah.
I also didn't
Like,
realize
from
how
the
they
get go.
how they put I don't think I ever realized this before I saw it again, but they put his rank on his bowler hat. I love
Yeah.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really fun in this. Neil McDonough.
Yeah.
There's,
great.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff with them.
The guy from Fresno, the Asian
I'm
gentleman.
from Fresno,
Yeah.
Ace.
Yeah, I love that actor because he had a really good part, decent part on Sons of Anarchy. So
Yeah.
seeing him in
Yeah.
Captain America and then seeing him again as the principal
In Homecoming?
in Homecoming,
Homecoming.
where you see
His grandson.
Yeah, I was
grandson.
like, Marvel, thank you for that.
Now I gotta say, which this is something we'll be talking about later on with Bucky and who he becomes. I still don't think he gets enough screen time to warrant the future of what Bucky's become. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can
Because
understand
if he's
that.
gonna eventually maybe be Captain America, I don't think he's built up enough for it.
Well, so I think I don't want to talk too much about where he goes.
Yeah, but, like, he
or
has a
where
death,
he could
yeah.
potentially go.
Yeah.
I like Bucky in this film.
I don't think he's in it enough.
This is another symptom of me talking about that section where that montage section. I needed more time there and less time in some of the other places that
Yeah.
we devote a little
And I
too
bet
much time to.
there's
Yeah.
some on the cutting room floor.
I think through the script. Sorry, Ben. I think through the script, there's enough implied there, like you get their relationship right away.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a bit of a problem.
It seems like a very quick forced death.
Yeah, it's you do get to the bit of a problem that I'm not 100% sure the next film was supposed to be Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
and I don't think that was the intent when killing him.
No, I don't think it was either.
I think that came later. But I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
We'll get that later. But
Yeah.
what are we going to say about
But
that?
I mean, I agree. I would have liked to see more scenes of Captain America, of Steve and Bucky kicking ass and taking names together, because there's only like these three major scenes that they're in together. When Steve was still skinny, right before Bucky went to the war, Steve rescuing
But
Bucky.
Jenna Coleman,
Uh-huh.
future Doctor Who companion.
Yep.
Beautiful.
The whole montage, which lasts like 2 minutes, and then you see him die. And
It's a
you're
cool
like,
montage, though.
There he goes. That sucks.
It is a real cool montage.
That's
The montage is cool, but you're right. It doesn't really, because when we see him again in Winter Soldier, I might be jumping ahead a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, you're his best friend.
It does not
See, there's-
indicate
this is-
years have passed at all.
This is
Yeah.
why I wish there were two films in a lot of ways, because I want a Captain America and Bucky focused film, and then a Captain America in the War with the Howling Commandos focused film.
Yeah.
And you kind of need two. You
And-
can't do it all in one.
And once again, maybe the end credit scene, the post credit scene for First Avenger should not have been an Avengers peak, but Winter Soldier peak. Like maybe maybe Hydra agents picking
No,
Bucky out.
I don't
out
think.
of the,
I don't think that would have worked.
or maybe at least keeping him on ice and like making
No,
his
because
armor
the
or something. I
trajectory
don't
of
know.
Avengers was next, so like it
You
had
know
to-
what? You know what I do think was. I do think is interesting. This film, what you're talking about, is very similar. Not problem, because I actually like this more in Thor than in Captain America. Both these films, about 2 hours. In Thor's case, under. They're quick movies.
Yeah.
Much quicker than most major action films, let alone any Marvel Cinematic
Avengers is
Universe
what,
film.
2:30?
Yeah.
But that's like a big one. That's
No,
like,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
all major action adventure films are about 2:30.
Yeah.
And so these are short for for the genre that they're in. I think Thor handles its plot like the way its plot flows better than Captain America does, because Captain America has that montage that's like you guys
Two.
said,
It has two.
There's two montages that's supposed to be indicative of years passing, but that's all character development that we're also passing through.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, the first montage I think is fine, but the second one I feel like we lose a lot.
Yeah. But how great
the
is
first
that?
montage is him doing all the shows where he punches Hitler and everything.
I love that.
How great
Bonds.
is
There's a
that,
moment in there I wanted to talk about because it's always bothered me. And
the
like,
art
we talked
scene,
about
isn't it?
Huh?
The art scene where he's drawing?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the moment in that montage where they're doing all the stage numbers. There's this part where he's signing autographs and a girl comes up and they use a photo flash when he sees her to match her smile with a sound cue. And it's the kind of thing that normally triggers a, hey, he's going to have a romance with her. Like he saw something in her smile, but she's not important. That's not the story. I don't know why it's there.
It could have been cut, whatever the next scene was.
But that's the indication of it. Yeah. It's weird. It doesn't. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Right?
Yeah, I get you.
I don't understand why it's there.
I never put that together though. It never occurred to me that would be. But you're right. That is.
It's a weird cue because I don't understand why it's there. It doesn't mean anything to Steve because we know that he's only got eyes for Peggy. The only time that he even glances at another woman is Natalie Dormer, and it's just because he thinks that Howard Stark is fonduing with Peggy.
Yeah. I want to touch on Tommy Lee Jones is great in this movie.
Yes, I wanted to bring that up.
I think he's fantastic.
Awesome.
I love the
Grenade.
scene. I love the scene when he's interrogating Zola. That's such a good scene.
The part where he's saying Schmidt believes he walks among the footsteps of the gods, and Tommy Lee Jones is just like,
Oh yeah, or the bit where he's just like, "What's in it? Cow." And he's just,
I bought you dinner.
I brought you dinner.
He's like, hey, do you know how hard it is to get cut like that? I was like, I don't
He's just like,
So
no
he starts
nonsense.
eating
He's
it.
like, I just
All
need
right.
your help, man. You
Or-
can be a dick or not, whatever.
Or at the end when Captain America looks at him after being kissed by Peggy, he's like, "I'm not kissing you."
I love when Steve comes in to find out if Bucky was dead or alive, and he's like, "Oh, if it isn't the Star Spangled Man with a plan," and then he
Tell me, what is your plan today?
And then he looks over to Peggy Carter's like, "You and I are gonna have a conversation that you will not enjoy." I'm like, "Oh, damn it, Tommy Lee Jones,
There's a
you're
lot of
really
great.
good.
He gets a lot of great moments in this.
The moment with the grenade,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
or the flag. Both
He's
of
still
those are
skinny.
excellent moments in
Yeah.
the training camp. But yeah,
He's still skinny.
yeah, they're really good.
that divide out in 17 years.
So
Boink.
I do want to touch on, because this is one of the few Marvel films with a good soundtrack.
Yes, I
The
also
soundtrack
wanted to
is
touch on this.
really
The
good.
Captain America theme, which actually has been one of the few to stick around.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't stick around if Howard Porter is using
Sticks
it.
around more than most.
Yeah. The
At least he has one.
The montage, "Who's Strong," it's such a good
Yes.
song, and his theme song is so good.
They're both very great.
Alan Silvestri's score on this movie is really good, and it was at a time where a lot of these problems actually. We meant to talk about this with Alita in our episode before, but I think the music in Captain America: The First Avenger still sticks out and is a standout as one of the better scores in the MCU.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Real quick, I just brought it up. They never do anything with him being an artist ever again. There's one scene where he's drawing,
where he's a monkey
and
on
he's
a
like,
unicycle.
yeah, and he's a monkey on a unicycle. And I'm like, that's cool. You ever gonna do anything with that ever again?
They probably just needed to fill time.
Yeah,
He
They
needed
just wanted to
something
convey how he was feeling
like a monkey.
really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Okay.
I think that's about.
I just have a couple of quick notes. One of my favorite moments of the movie is the kid being tossed into the ocean by the hydrangea, and he's like, "Go get him! I can swim!"
Yeah, that's
Oh yeah, because back in the 40s, being able to swim was kind of a thing.
Oh, and you know what? Actually, there's a really good moment about that bit. It's a learning sequence. Like, he's learning about his body in that
He's
moment.
running
during
so
an act-
fast.
Yes.
He runs into a building. 'Cause he can't
That's a
control
great
his speed.
sequence.
During an action sequence, we don't get a lot of like, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? We get it all within an action sequence, and I think that's really good.
And there's and it's show not tell. Like you
Yeah.
see him learn. Yeah, it's great.
I also really love the line where Schmidt says Hydra could grow no larger in Hitler's shadow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's super great. And they explain that Hydra's the advanced science division, but it works like a cult.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
Stan Lee's cameo, I thought he'd be taller.
that's a good one.
Uh-huh.
That's a good one.
Um,
First of many on our journey.
I don't think we ever see the Hail Hydra salute again.
No, we don't.
No, we only hear
no, we don't.
Just you get like just the one.
It's the fist.
It's the double fists up in
Yeah.
the air. Yeah.
because they couldn't do the Sieg Heil.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because that was Hitler's thing, and their Hydra, they want to be different from.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it's a. I think they wanted to be different in the same way that in Star Trek, Mirror Broken. So there's the first episode that's set in the Mirror universe, and it's they do the Hitler salute, but fist closed.
Oh, okay.
So so when they did the Mirror Universe again in the Enterprise, they changed the salute to be not so indicative of Hitler because we shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't.
I think it's different and much in the same way.
Yeah, and also over the years past, I think the reason why we also, thanks to Winter Soldier, we don't see it because we have a bunch of Hydra traders running around going, "Hail Hydra."
Yeah, you're right.
Because they can't like
That's
straight
the next
up
episode.
freaking.
Oh, what about the one?
But that's what I'm saying is like there are ones where like they know they're dying later, and that they don't do it, or it never showed up in Shield. Not to bring Shield too much into it, but that salute just goes away.
What about the line when they're storming the compound? Cut off one hand, two more. Let's go find two more.
Go find two more. Yeah,
such a good moment.
So Iron Man.
So Iron Man now. The
one that
one
started it all.
One that kicked it off.
6-3 it is. Yeah,
Still
6-3.
holds up really well. I
Hey
think.
guys, Iron Man's a freaking great movie.
Yeah.
Iron Man
Regardless
is
of comic books, it's just such a good
Iron
movie.
Man is a fun movie.
Yeah.
It is. Looking back on it, you're like, man, this is the one that started it all. You get the like the nostalgia feels a little bit.
Mostly
kinda.
improv film.
Yeah.
Which is
It didn't have a working script,
No.
but it turned out
has the first
Shows with Terrence Howard.
Yeah, has a one of the first in the cringe-worthy name drop.
We're
Where
ironmongers.
Oh yeah.
Just
I could
thank you.
I could forgive that, but
The fact that they do it often in the MCU is ridiculous.
But looking back on Iron Man, everyone is good.
Everyone's great.
It only matters to comic nerds.
I know.
Casual audience viewers are like, "What? That's a fine line."
Yeah.
You said Ironmonger. I get it.
I think, although looking back, I have to agree with you, Sparks, that the chemistry between Terrence Howard and RDJ, I'm just gonna call him that for now, it's quicker, and Robert Downey Jr.
I know.
No, we
now it's not quicker.
All right, shit. But Don Cheadle and RDJ have better chemistry. I mean, I don't know if it's because they have more films together, or maybe because this is the first
because we
one.
only watched Iron Man and Iron Man 2 this week, and right away, I believe their friendship
I think
more in Iron Man
Terrence
2.
Howard just is like more of a butt. So
Yeah.
In real life, he's a total butt, and in this movie, he feels like a butt.
Yeah.
The reason
He feels like a buzzkill.
Like the only time where I feel like he was actually they had good chemistry was when both of them were drunk on the plane going to Afghanistan.
No, I don't even think that
You
was
don't think
good
that?
chemistry. No, because it's just Terrence Howard complaining to him drunk, and
Oh,
Tony's
yeah.
like, "I'm just trying to watch these strippers. Shut up.
Or-
I don't even want to talk to you."
Yeah.
There's nothing good there. Like they don't have a good moment.
You know who has really good chemistry? RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. And
oh, is that what it stands for?
Yeah.
F off, okay? Jeez.
and Jeff Bridges.
And Jeff Bridges. Yes,
Oh,
they do.
They really do.
So-
But that pizza scene when he visits, he's like, "Can I see what you're looking at?
Yeah,
Here, you
yeah.
want one? Here, take two."
It's
so
like,
good.
okay. He's like, this stays. Tony's like, the arc reactor stays with me. Well, the pizza stays with me. Here, have a slice. You know what? Take two.
Or what about the when he's like, it's archaeology technologist going nowhere, right? That's what we said, right?
Right, Tony.
Who told
Tony?
you? Who told you? Was it
I don't
Brody or
care.
Pepper?
I
don't
love
care. I
when
wanna see it.
love when he calls him on the video phone,
Yeah.
And he's in his
and
bed.
he's half naked in
Yeah.
his bed.
Obi, what are you
I
doing
really
up?
like that moment.
Obi, what are you doing up? I
Yeah.
just want to know if it went okay. Are you wearing the pajamas
Yeah.
I bought you?
Besides the whatever final act that a lot of these movies have, considering this was the first one, I'm a little more forgiving of it.
Sure.
You know, just a generic third action scene or whatever.
This.
But Jeff
probably-
Bridges is awesome throughout the whole movie.
The first 10 minutes of this movie are probably the best opening of any comic book origin film
It's so
ever.
good.
From the war capture scene to the award ceremony to completely get you informed on who Tony Stark is.
Yeah.
I don't think anything does it better.
You
No.
understand that character 100%.
And
Yeah.
this
Immediately.
movie introduces my favorite character in all of the MCU.
Happy.
Dummy.
Dummy.
Oh yeah.
You're right, dude. Dummy. And I forgot that Dummy was like his invention from like 2 decades ago.
From like years
In
ago that
college.
he's kept.
I think that
So
was his
cute.
MIT graduate
Yeah.
thesis.
Yeah, and
At
he
15.
keeps threatening to break it
Just
down.
mad.
apart.
He's never going to
You know-
break it.
You know who had better chemistry with RDJ
The
than
dummy.
Terrence Howard
Dummy?
and even Jeff Bridges? Jensen.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yinsen is so good in this movie.
Yeah.
Man, this movie's really good.
It is.
Jensen, wait, remind
He's the guy who helps him.
He saves him
puts
at the
the arc
beginning.
reactor in his heart,
Electric bat.
and he works with him
God, yes,
at the beginning.
Yes, the guy. Oh,
Yeah,
the guy
Ho
who died
Jensen.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
That made me cry. Oh,
Yeah, he's great.
And the CGI holds up real well.
Yeah.
That actor should be proud of how
Oh,
those
yeah.
scenes went.
Yeah.
He is a forgotten face, but he's excellent.
Uh huh.
Yeah. Shows
He's
up
the
again.
reason we have the MCU, if anything, because he
Mm.
saved Tony Stark.
But man, this that movie is real good.
It's a great origin story. It's a great resurrection for an actor.
Pepper is really good in it.
Leslie Bibb is really good in it.
Yes, she
Leslie
is.
Bibb is really good in it.
Everyone.
Her
I'm
smirk
prepared
at
to-
the, her smirk at the end when he's like, "Truth is, I am Iron Man." You just see her.
I slept with that guy.
And also, it's like she's like, "Do you lose a few hours sleep with it?" No, I'm prepared to lose some with you.
It's what was
Cut to them in the bed.
What was the bit where he says to insinuate that I'm a superhero is
No one said
fantastic.
is
Yeah.
no right.
I really think one of my favorite scenes that I think Robert Downey Jr. did such an excellent job with is the scene where he comes back and has the press conference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where he sits down. He's like, "Can everybody
like,
just sit with
I never
me?"
said goodbye to my father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
playing that so well.
Yeah.
And when he decides to just shut it down and Jeff Bridges is trying to stop him and he's just like, "No, I'm going with this."
Yeah.
I think that scene is quintessential. Like, it's such a good, clear turn of who he is.
Uh-huh.
It's very clearly done, but he conveys everything there. I really like that scene.
Yeah.
I think
I
that
also-
scene's incredible.
I only want two things. The first,
It's
Tony,
not what you think.
It's not what you think.
Yeah.
I want a cheeseburger,
An American
and I want
cheese.
to call a press conference.
I want an American cheeseburger. Happy cheeseburger first.
This is the appearance of Coulson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Experience of Coulson.
Of the
He's just
Man,
like, I just want to schedule a meeting with you. Is that
it's
so hard
so
to
crazy to see him there and think about how far it's come since.
As like this phase
Yeah, we need to
one,
get a shorter name for that.
Yeah.
Phil Coulson.
working on it.
Phase 1 is my favorite Phil Coulson.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
he only shows up in phase 1.
No, I mean like
He's saying S.H.I.E.L.D.
Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon Coulson turned him into this.
He's like a funny guy.
this funny guy fanboy.
Well,
But
that's
this-
still phase 1.
yeah, but this not pre Joss Whedon. This version of Coulson is really good. I really like Clark Gregg in this movie.
I really like him in Avengers.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying this is my favorite Coulson.
I get what you're saying. I feel like by the time we hit Avengers, we needed him to have more of a personality than he'd been given up to
Probably.
that point.
Yeah.
Like, he's fun to watch, but he needed a personality.
Yeah.
So the there's a slight continuity issue with the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division, not yet called SHIELD.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, in
Oh, in 1945 or whatever?
yeah, it's always been SHIELD.
Yeah, it's a retcon.
In 1945?
No,
it was
in
the
Agent Carter.
SSI.
Captain Marvel.
In Captain Marvel.
Captain
and
Marvel, they call it
coming-
S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
Coming up, every time we
but
flash
not in Captain America. They hadn't formed S.H.I.E.L.D. yet.
anytime we come back to we have a flashback into like Ant-Man or something, always SHIELD.
Yeah.
Every
true.
time in Agents of SHIELD, always been SHIELD.
I think that's just a
the
retcon
the
thing.
agent. It definitely is.
Yeah.
It definitely is because when Iron Man came out, and that's the thing. People get hung up on these plot inconsistencies, and the thing is, when Iron Man came out, they didn't know what they were doing.
They didn't expect an Infinity War.
It's whatever.
Yeah, no, it
that's,
totally
that's something
is.
I'm not going to get hung up on because, once again, this was the first one.
I'm not saying.
And
I'm saying that it's an important thing to acknowledge.
Yeah.
That back in this moment in 2008, they didn't know where they were going, and it's important to note that those inconsistencies will pop up throughout.
You know what else is a clear standout of that? Paul Bettany in this movie sounds like a robot.
Yes, he does.
He does not sound like an intelligent AI. He sounds like a robot.
Yeah.
And that immediately changed in Iron Man 2.
Oh yeah.
That is a clear, like, wow. That, like, looking back at that movie and knowing what he is as Jarvis
Yeah.
later, this is like, he sounds like a slightly better Alexa.
You
Yeah.
look at
It's not great.
you look at his workstation, and it's not all checked out with all holograms everywhere. It's
Sure.
just he's got one station that has hologram emitter, and I'm like, oh wow,
Yeah, it's
wow.
again like we watched the first movie, and then if you compare it to the last movie, which is Infinity War, like Tony Stark went from being a dude in a cave to literally on another planet with nanomachines fighting a god.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible how far we've come. It's really cool.
It's keeping it back in 2008.
Yeah.
Man, remember
A
2008?
long time ago.
I wrote
Barely.
this note. This was actually pretty important to me. I don't really care for this depiction of Rhodey, regardless of Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to say that because when Tony says he's working on something big and wants him to be a part of it, Rhodey, and this is a problem with the character in this film, Rhodey's response is just, if it ain't military, then you need to get your head right because that's crazy. There's no friendship level to him.
Yeah.
Not even in the writing. Like, regardless of the fact that I don't think Terrence Howard is good in the role, I don't like really the role in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's written
They
well.
buddied him up a lot more in the next one.
Yeah, I
Oh,
did
yeah.
not. I don't like the way he's written in this film in general. So
Yeah.
that stood
He is
out
like-
to me
he
more
is
this
like
time.
the
I was trying to
one-
be
the
more
one-
objective of past Terrence Howard, and I'm like, he's just not written well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
They didn't have him
that
figured out.
relationship sucks.
Yeah.
And it's so strange because you have an entire movie of great relationship, great chemistry, and there's just that one person that doesn't.
Which is a bummer because he's supposed to be his best friend, and you just don't really feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the scene that really punctuated for me is when Tony goes to visit him. He's like, "Hey man, I want you to be a part of this," and he's like, "Dude, if it's not military, I don't want to talk to you."
Yeah.
I was like, God, that's stupid.
Before we get off the Iron Man 1 train, they introduced the 10 rings, which will be a Iron Man staple for the trilogy, which is pretty neat.
The 10 rings.
I like that it's there from the beginning.
Yeah.
Me too. I like that idea, introducing them as a terrorist group.
Yes.
One of the things I love every single time, that first time suiting up as Iron Man is so solid and so well done.
It's really great.
Tell you what, throw a little Hot Rod Red in there. Later on, Pepper comes in. Be honest, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
Yeah.
This is also second Stan Lee cameo in our journey.
Yes.
Him as
Hugh Hefner.
You look great, Hef. Yeah.
Yeah, Hugh Hefner.
That, because we talked about like where CGI doesn't hold up in like Incredible Hulk or anything. The scene where he's being dismantled and Pepper walks in, that's the worst CGI in this movie.
Yeah.
Is it?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the thing is pulling the suit apart, like that's
It's a little
really
fakey. It's a little
that's
fakey.
really fakey.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie looks pretty good. That's the sequence where it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
it didn't. It
If they had
doesn't
to
hold
cut-
up so good.
Yeah, they had to cut the budget on one scene. That was
the one.
Yeah.
I also, one of my favorite moments is actually, I forgot all about till we were watching it this time, the suspense of the scene where Pepper has the files on Obi's computer and he comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Such a
That's
good
an
scene.
excellent
Is that today's
scene.
paper? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an excellent scene. He's like, what are we going to do about this? And then she's like, oh shit.
I'm dead.
Yeah, that's such a great scene.
I want to know what kind of.
I miss Jeff Bridges as Obi.
Me
Yeah.
too. As Obadiah Stane. I want to know what kind of translating MacGuffin they have that can translate him into his actual voice.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Tony Stark built one of these in a cave.
With a
Box of scraps!
That's
I'm
the
not
kid
Tony
from
Stark.
That's the kid from the Christmas Story.
Aw,
Fun fact.
good for him.
Where'd his hair go?
Yeah, that famous line. Man, the movie's real good.
Yeah.
I really like Jeff Bridges in this movie.
If I could put Don Cheadle in that movie, I think that movie would be 100%.
That movie would
better.
be 10 out of 10 right there.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
100%.
I also
Terrence Howard drags that movie down for me pretty hard.
All right, dumb question going ahead. But
Don't
does
say
Iron
it.
Man 3 start with a AC/DC song, or no? Am I thinking of
Ooh, that's Iron Man 2.
Iron
Definitely
Man
opens
3
with an
Def-
AC song.
yeah, definitely
Iron Man
Iron Man
3
Opens with I'm Blue.
I'm Blue
Oh,
because it takes
Apple
place
six-
in the 90s.
Apple
Yeah.
65.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, at least I got two movies with AC/DC openings, because when you hear Back in Black and then
It is in
Shoot
Avengers
to-
as well.
Shoot to Thrill, it just makes me happy because I'm like, yeah, AC/DC, one of the
this
favorite
movie-
Yeah, they
bands.
put Shoot to Thrill
Shoot to
in
Thrill-
Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very quick because that's
No,
when
I
Tony
remember.
flies
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
It ends with Nick Fury,
It ends with
Yes.
the post-credit sting.
which again, for years, even until Avengers was coming out, I truly didn't believe it was happening because how
Oh,
could
we didn't even
No-
talk about first impressions from the first time we saw it.
Oh, you're right.
Oh yeah.
If you remember.
I was already an Iron Man fan and I couldn't believe it.
I
I was ready
was-
to get the tattoo when I was like 16.
I very distinctly remember people before the movie came out talking about, can the Iron Man movie be as good as its trailer? Is that possible? Like,
The
people
answer
didn't
is
believe it
yes.
because people were like, that Iron Man trailer is really good. There's no way this movie's
Yeah.
that good, right?
And
But it was.
my knowledge of Iron Man before I saw the movie was, oh yeah, he's a robot, right? Oh, it's a suit of armor. Okay, hey, it looks cool. I'm gonna go see it. I know it's Marvel, and all right.
Did we see this together?
Yes.
We did.
11
Ah.
years.
So we stayed after the credits and we saw Nick Fury for the first
You know
time
why
together.
we stayed after the credits?
We were excited.
Well, the Pirates of the Caribbean films kept having post-credit sequences.
Oh
So we
yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
well, I just wonder.
But that's not why we stayed there. I remember it. We were just talking about the movie.
we were. Just talking
lingered
about
in the
movie.
theater talking about the movie for too
Oh
long.
my God, it's coming
and
back
the
to me.
ending came up, and we were like, "What?" And then it was Sam Jackson, and you and I specifically knew what that meant
Because we
we
were
both
reading
read the
Ultimates.
Ultimate comics, and we knew he was Ultimate Nick Fury. We were like, "Oh, man!"
shit.
And nobody else with us knew what was happening, and we're like, "This is it."
Did you guys believe in the Avengers Initiative though?
100%. I was like, if they did this, if they got Sam Jackson for this cameo, I was like, this is happening. If this movie's doing well, this is happening.
Well, a couple months later would be the next major crossover between characters.
with
Yeah.
the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moment I saw the TV spots for the Incredible Hulk where Tony Stark was showing up in them, I was like, oh, it is happening.
My nerd
It's
juices
on.
were like flowing, but I still was just like in disbelief. Like I just didn't think we deserved this as a people.
I
And
had
then we got it. So yeah.
I snuck in an Iron Man the first time I saw it.
Ooh, sneaky devil.
No, because my dad and I, we would do this thing of double features where we bought a ticket to another movie and,
Oh,
timed
yeah.
it out. So
I
we
did that
just
with my
go-
grandpa all the time.
Yes, we did.
Oh yeah.
So we saw Robin Hood, and then we waited 20 minutes.
Russell Crowe's
Russell
Robin
Crowe's
Hood?
Robin Hood. Yeah, we waited a
Oh.
few minutes, and then we got into
Wow.
Iron Man. Or no, it wasn't.
I haven't seen
No,
that
no,
movie.
it wasn't. It was.
Robin Hood came out after, I think.
No, you're right. It wasn't that. It was I Am Legend, and then
That's
we got,
right.
Then
That,
we
that
got,
sounds about right.
Then we snuck.
Hey,
into
remember
Iron
when the
Man.
most excited crossover was on I Am Legend when they had the Batman Superman logo?
Yeah.
yeah, and it came true. How crazy is that shit?
It was also in
like
a long time later.
10
Hey,
years
that
later.
that billboard was also in season 2 Heroes. I was freaking
Yeah.
out, but
Yeah,
we're not
right,
talking about
right.
that because we were bummed after I Am Legend. We go into Iron Man and we're like, man, Iron Man was great, but we didn't stay for the end because we had no idea.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my best friend Adam and I snuck into Incredible Hulk. No, we didn't sneak in. We snuck into Star Trek. We saw Incredible Hulk first, then snuck into Star Trek. And we got out of Incredible Hulk, and we saw that Tony Stark. We were talking to him. He's like, they're not.
Hold up,
are
I
they?
don't think that lines up.
No, Star Trek's 09.
Star
Star
Trek-
Trek's 09.
Yeah, Star
Oh,
Trek
yeah,
was a
you're
year
right.
later. It doesn't matter. Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, we were walking. We got out of Incredible Hulk, and we're like, there's no way.
I
There's no
remember
way.
specifically. Now let's just get into Incredible Hulk.
Smash.
Yeah, that's a good lead-in.
Initial.
First impressions for Incredible Hulk?
So I remember specifically walking. We went for Pi's birthday.
We did. He
I
was
remember-
very jazzed
He
about
was
this movie.
very excited about that movie.
He's a big Hulk fan.
And we were going to see it, and he was like, "Man, I really hope that they do an Avengers crossover." Now, this is the only Phase 1 film not put out by Paramount.
No, that was Universal.
This is Universal. This is why they can't put out a dedicated Hulk film.
Damn.
So yeah, this is Edward Norton. I really like this movie.
I really like this movie too.
I've watched it multiple times, and I think every single time I'm like, "Damn, this movie's solid."
I think it gets a bad rap. I don't think it's great, but like I think it's pretty good.
When I first saw it, I was only thinking about the Ang Lee film thing. I was like, man, that movie was long. It was, and I didn't like it. So I hear they're doing an Incredible Hulk movie. I'm like, all right. The trailer.
Director of Clash of the Titans.
I think
Yeah.
especially considering the time frame that Incredible Hulk came out in, and that the only other thing related to it was the Ang Lee Hulk film that had come before.
Yeah.
I think it really did a great job. The fact that it came out the same year as Iron Man. Iron Man's
came
a
out
better
a
film,
month later.
but the fact that it came out the same year and it's still like the comic book film it is, I think is very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and when I finally when Adam and I, we saw this together, when we got out of Incredible Hulk, we just were so jazzed about it. We were like, man, that film was so much better than the other one. We couldn't stop talking about how much we loved how you got to see Hulk that early on in the movie, how great the action was, and at the time how good the CGI was, and of course
at the time.
and of course when RDJ as Tony Stark walks in.
Who's RDJ?
Shut up, you know
The
this,
whole
but-
episode, I'm not going to let you live this down. Whole episode, baby.
When Tony Stark walks in and he's like, hey, we're putting a little team together, Adam looks at me, he's like, what team are they talking about? I'm like, it might be the Avengers. He's like, who are the Avengers? You know the Justice League, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman? Yeah. He's like, yeah, Marvel's version. What? And then
Such an interesting insight into past Ben.
no, that was Adam. He was like, wait, what? Are you serious? I'm like, maybe. At the end credit scene of Iron Man 2, that's when I knew we're getting the Avengers because Thor was coming out.
So do you guys know the Rotten Tomatoes score for the first phase of the MCU?
No.
No.
The lowest is 70 with Incredible Hulk.
Really?
That's the lowest for the entire MCU.
Yeah.
It's
What's
pretty
Iron
good.
Man- what's
The Dark
Iron Man-
World has 76.
What's Iron Man 2?
I think Incredible
Iron
Hulk
Man
is,
2 is 71.
Oh.
Hold on, I think Incredible Hulk is a better film than both those films.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
all these movies have above 70.
I
which
think that
is
film has really interesting.
surprising.
You know, a lot of people liked Iron Man 2 when they first saw it and changed their minds later. It had a lot of the Phantom Menace effect.
100%.
Yeah, I think the Incredible Hulk is really interesting cinematography, like super interesting cinematography.
It's dynamic.
Yeah,
The rooftop favela chase is really good.
One of the
Oh,
best.
that's-
Like the first
yeah.
30 minutes of the film are the best parts of the film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a pretty good CGI. I think in some places it holds up better than others. And then one more thing, I think Edward Norton is really good in it.
I like him.
You know what? I was wrong. Not all the villains die in the movie. Blonsky's still alive.
Yeah, he's out
The
there.
Abomination's still alive.
He's in the raft somewhere.
Technically, he's still alive.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Liv Tyler is good in this movie at all, but there's so much better stuff around it that it doesn't
I
bother
think
me.
she's got really good chemistry with Edward Norton.
I think she's... I don't.
I
I think she has
forgot.
literally nothing to do in this movie.
See, I agree. I don't think she's given a lot.
Yeah.
But I think she's good in the scenes that she's in.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think
That's
some of her
saying a
acting
lot.
is very bad.
I think she's better in the scenes with her dad than she is in the scenes with Edward
yeah.
Norton.
I agree with
Sure, I'll agree with
Yeah.
that.
I
Poor Edward Norton trying to have sex.
really
can't do
like
it.
the setup
that. Yeah.
of the beginning where it recaps everything in the opening credits,
Me
like
too.
the
show.
accident and everything.
Yeah.
Me too.
And you see a gray Hulk because if you look real closely, he's not very green.
Mhm.
When you see the arms in that
In the credits, yeah.
opening credit sequence, I kind of like that nod.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then that it comes out of that into him doing exercises to control his anger.
Yeah.
I love him living out down in the South.
I
there.
love the whole sequence in the factory is really fun.
I love how engaged we are in 30 minutes of the film without the Hulk in it.
Yeah.
But we know what's up.
Yeah.
And like the day since incident thing.
One of my favorite Stan Lee cameos to this day.
Oh, wow.
Where he gets murdered by blood in a soda.
I just imagine he turns into a Hulk monster before dying.
Whoa.
And William Hurt, I think, is fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He makes me wish that we would get a Red Hulk,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
but we won't.
Yeah.
I remember specifically. I said it pretty loudly in the movie theater once, and I said, "I wonder why there's no rumors about a Red Hulk being in Civil War since Thaddeus Ross is in it." Next day, article. Rumor says Red Hulk in Civil War. I'm like, who heard me?
Too good to be true. Yeah.
Who's listening? Alexa.
I think the opening scene in the bottle plant where the Hulk's like shadowed a lot is really good and really spooky.
Yeah.
Like kind of like good like Jaws shit, like hiding the monster. And then the second like the college fight with Blonsky where he's Super Soldier Blonsky
Kicks him right into a tree.
It's awesome. Like seeing Captain America before Captain America was really awesome.
Yeah.
And then the final fight in Brooklyn I think is pretty fun and pretty bombastic.
It is.
Like all the Hulk stuff's really good.
A lot of that is taken from the video game that was pretty
Ultimate
popular at the time,
Destruction. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, where he takes the car, rips it in half,
Boxing
and uses
gloves.
his boxing
gloves, yeah.
To this day, I still love the soldiers in the back of the Humvee with
poor
the
guys.
with the two cops driving.
Yeah.
it. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I think those guys are really
Like,
fun.
Take it down.
The Hulk is in the street, sir. The Hulk is in the street. Get yourself together, soldier.
I love William Hurt so much in this movie.
He's good.
This film has a great score.
It does.
It uses
I really
some
like
of the old TV show score, which
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah. Just in general, like it might not have a solid theme that I could recall, but it has a more engaging score than either of the Iron Man films in this phase.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Iron Man's one was
Ramin Djawadi,
Yeah.
who does Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the second one was John Debney.
The Days Without Incident counter going throughout the film.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think
Also
that's a really great
the
touch.
heart monitor.
Yes, the heart monitor,
Yeah.
like those things to kind of keep you in tune with like Bruce trying to control
Yeah.
because we don't have another moment later in the films where it's Bruce like dedicated to Bruce trying to put a lid on the Hulk
Yeah.
One of
for
my
himself.
favorite scenes in the movie is when they finally get to New York and they're talking and they're like, "It's like, hey, I think if we take the red line," and he's like, "Yeah, me inside
Yeah.
the most aggressive city in a tube, hundreds of feet on the ground. Yeah, let's get a cab." And then
And then the cab driver,
Yeah.
that's a great gag.
and she like just yells at the cab driver, and then Bruce is like, I know some Bruce, you zip it. We're walking.
There's a lot of fun nods to Bill Bixby. Like he's at the end it says David Banner,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is the character's name in the
Right.
in the original show.
Bill Bixby appears on a television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and also Lou Ferrigno.
Yep.
Yeah.
He shows up.
He always shows up in
And
the
he's
Hulk
the
project.
voice of the Hulk.
What was the you're making me hungry.
Oh,
You wouldn't like me
When
when
I'm hungry.
He doesn't know the Portuguese word
No,
for
wait, that's
angry.
not right.
I really appreciate how much time they let Bruce spend outside of the U.S.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
me
I
too.
think it adds a lot to the backstory of Bruce Banner, which is why I still like the Incredible Hulk so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I think it's a good like even though they change actors, like it's a good lead into
It is.
Avengers.
It is.
because he's still on the run in a different
Yeah.
country. It's still doing what he's doing.
It still feels in tone, even though the actor changes. It still feels a good background.
To this
for it.
day, I still wish they would spend more. They found a way to spend more time on the PTSD he feels as the Hulk. Like you get it when he's in the shower and it starts glitching. And
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the whole thing with Edward Norton and like him wanting to make it more like a dramatic movie,
Yeah.
and they're like, we need a Hulk movie to smash Edward.
Yeah,
So
that is a great moment
you're
where the
fired?
shower head turns into a machine
Yeah.
gun for a
Oh,
moment,
yeah.
and,
and that's
he
like
sees
the
that and he collapses
only
in the tub.
instance of that too.
It's really good.
no,
though.
there's two instances. I don't remember what the second one was.
They definitely should have utilized that more though.
They really should have.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen more of that.
I think the emotion to Betty and Bruce really lands narrative-wise. The Liv Tyler could be stronger performance-wise.
Yeah.
I do think that the narrative behind it is in the right place, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love melodrama is one of the many reasons why I like the Lord of the Rings films. But when she and Bruce embrace in the rain, I'm like, oh, get those
that
melodrama
is very
feels.
dramatic. Yeah.
Loving that.
I really, really enjoy the scene of he's like, yo, I'm the only person who can stop Abomination. I gotta get thrown out of this helicopter.
Yeah, that's great.
And he
Crashes
realizes
into the
it's
street and
not-
emerges.
He realizes it's not going to change. Just goes, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's real spooky.
I think the scene, the best scene with Tim Roth is him and Stearns
Yeah.
talking about making the Abomination.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want that.
I need that.
I need that. Yeah.
like
Stearns is like, Stearns is like, listen, I didn't say no. I just need to make sure you're allowing me.
You've got informed consent.
Yeah.
I like that scene. It's a shame
like
that we can't see
Stearns
that
a lot
guy.
too, and
I do too.
I
and
wish he would come back, but
I wish he would be the leader, but he's not.
I had always wished. I'd always wished that. Remember in the season 1 of Agents of Shield when they were introduced, when they were teasing the clairvoyant.
Oh,
I always wanted that to be the leader.
That would have
been awesome.
That would have been great.
And a fun way to bring in Samuel Stearns back. But alas, they went with something worse.
They went with Bill
Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
That wasn't that bad.
When the Hydra stuff plays out, it's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think we're all pretty positive.
Incredible Hulk ends in a big old fight. Abomination loses. Tony Stark's like, hey.
Tony Stark shows up.
The only time where we get a Hulk smash from the Hulk in the MCU?
Oh, yeah.
From the Hulk.
Where he says it, yeah.
Yeah. It's just really cool. The whole man, that whole fight sequence on the rooftop is real cool.
Yeah.
It's real. He rips Bone out and stabs him with it.
That's real good.
It's
Solid.
very visceral. Yeah.
Solid. I like that. And you feel. You know what's so great about the CGI in that moment is that you feel every punch. You feel
that's true.
feel the gravity of it all.
Yeah.
And it's really
the base is
Hulk.
there.
Hulk consistently looks better than the Abomination.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
I think the Abomination
I really
doesn't look
like
so
his
good.
design, though.
I like his design,
I have
but
a
the
toy of
CGI for some reason on the Hulk looks more defined.
Yeah.
And the Abomination looks a lot closer to a video game character.
I could tell. The CGI in the Incredible Hulk hasn't aged well, but the CGI for the Hulk does look better than Abomination.
I've always been a big fan of that design of the Hulk. Honestly, I'm like one of the few people who prefer like the stretched out skin design of the Hulk. I kind of prefer it to the kind of Neanderthal look of
to
Mark
the more
Ruffalo.
I'm bigger version of person.
Yeah,
Sure.
I kind of prefer like he's like really surfer dude, ripped, really stretched out Hulk.
Yeah.
The muscles are bursting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that design of the Hulk. But I mean, obviously, what we get in the Avengers is pretty good.
But
too.
I do think that what they did with Mark Ruffalo's later does look a little more like scary monstrous, and I kind of like that aspect of it, where this looks like this Hulk looks a little more handsome.
So I want to. Yeah,
it does.
I do want to ask because we're trying to stay away from a lot of the later phases. But the do we wish that Edward Norton had stayed on board?
Honestly, no.
No, I've gotten so used to Mark Ruffalo, and especially after his performance at Thor Ragnarok, I don't want Edward Norton to come back.
Yeah,
I'm totally fine with Mark Ruffalo. He's my Bruce Banner.
I kind of agree. I don't think the stories that we would have gotten. I don't think we would have gotten this with Edward Norton.
I don't think the character that this Bruce Banner is would really work with Edward Norton's take on it, because I honestly don't think he wanted it to be a comedy either.
Right. Like,
I'll put it this way: I don't think we would have had the same beats with Banner and the Hulk as we've had, because it would have been different. I don't think it would have been bad.
No, I don't think so either.
So I would have been we've had too many films where we've had Mark Ruffalo. There's too much to compare there at this point. Like he's got the weight way more on his side than Edward Norton does.
Yeah.
I think if Edward Norton had stayed with the role, if we'd never had an alternative, I don't think any of us would have a problem with it. That's the thing. Is like I wouldn't have had a problem with it being him. Like if we're comparing in retrospect, then it's like, well, we've got all this great Mark Ruffalo stuff.
It could have been a situation like Chris Hemsworth with Thor, where he starts kind of okay and evolves into this incredible character now.
Right? Yeah, I don't
like that. That could have been Norton's character.
I don't think we would have had a problem with Norton at all. I think he would have brought a lot to it. He had a passion for the character, and it showed in this movie. In this one movie, it did show.
Yeah.
And I'll say that if I just compare not all of Mark Ruffalo's tenure as the Hulk, but Incredible Hulk and Avengers, I think Edward Norton gives more to the performance than Mark Ruffalo does in just the Avengers.
I can agree with that.
The only thing is, I don't think Edward Norton would have played off nearly as well with RDJ.
That's possible,
I
but
agree.
that's neither here nor there. We'll never know.
Wait.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
sorry.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's
whole episode bad.
That's neither here nor there. But we'll never know. But I do think that he put a lot more to it than Mark Ruffalo did in his first outing.
Yeah.
Right. I get you. All right then.
Incredible Hulk ends with drunk Thaddeus Ross meeting up with Tony Stark, and Tony Stark, hey, I have a question for you.
The drink he's drinking called the Hulk.
Reload.
That's.
You always wear such nice suits. Touche.
Yeah, I like that moment. I think they play off really well together. And one of the things that I wanted to say was, this is the only time where the kind of order of the films doesn't line up, because he is the consultant at this point, and he's not that until the next film, which we'll get into, Iron Man 2.
Oh, Iron Man 2.
If we want to go by the order of, man, this movie's not good.
So I'll tell you this: this movie isn't great, but I definitely have de-soured on it. Because last time we watched this, like 2 years ago, I definitely wasn't feeling it. But watching it with Sparks and Ben and the ladies, I had a better time. The good stuff is really good, and the bad stuff's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So it's like it definitely evens out to be like, eh.
That could have been because I was watching this one alone.
Yeah.
I noticed that too. That I was like, man, I had a much worse time not watching this with Ryan and Ben.
Yeah.
Like the last time I watched it, and then this time I was like, this wasn't so bad, but I feel like we kind of talked each other through it, so it was better.
Yeah, I think so. Like the best part was when one of the best parts was when Don Cheadle comes out, and you can tell they're like, it's like
That's such a good cheeky line.
Yeah.
Look, I'm here. Deal with it.
It's me. Deal with it. I like that.
I'll tell you
me
what,
too.
I generally think that the villain for this movie kind of sucks.
Oh, totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Whiplash?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awful.
I think it's just, of all the guys you can choose, like a dude who has whips. Like to fight a flying.
I've got this arc reactor technology. I'm gonna go fight him with whips.
It just seems like such a.
I'm gonna get hit by a car multiple times and not be injured.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have anything to protect me.
I get what they're kind of going for. Like he's like in the beginning, it mirrors like a shittier Tony Stark.
100%. Yeah.
And I think that stuff is interesting. I think the stuff with his dad specifically. I like the stuff with Howard.
Yeah.
But they don't do it enough.
They don't do it enough.
No, they don't.
I think the stuff with Sam Jackson is pretty good.
This thing, the movie has 5 storylines. It needed 3.
Yeah.
What are the 5 storylines? Let's go through them.
Okay, there's Mickey Rourke.
Yes.
And Tony.
Tony's
there's
sick.
There's Don Cheadle taking the suit.
Yes.
Yep.
There's Justin Hammer wanting to compete with Tony Stark.
Yes.
Tony
There's
Stark's sickness.
Tony Stark's sickness.
Yes.
And the drunk thing. And there's Howard Stark.
Does
and,
Black Widow
and
count?
the father. And there's Black Widow.
So
See?
6.
I don't like Black Widow in this movie.
I think she's fine. She's just like, this is the beginning of her. So like
You could argue, and people have. You could argue that her performance is mostly because she's undercover, so she's not a lot like who she is later. However, there's a couple of scenes where she is herself, and she's not like how she is later.
because this is early. Like
It is.
She's a much
it is.
better actress.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the blatant sexism with her. It's a joke that she's so hot. Multiple times they make jokes about, look how hot she is. Look at that hot babe.
I'll tell you what. I think that's on purpose because Tony Stark is a ladies' man, and that's she's using her sexiness as a spy to.
Oh yeah, then what about the scene where Happy's looking at her in the back of the car?
Brandon, are you telling me you wouldn't point out a beautiful
Don't need
woman?
the scene.
Yeah,
Don't need the scene.
I just don't think it's.
Don't
it
need the scene
bothers me.
don't need the scene because one of the worst offenses of this film is that Happy isn't it too much.
Oh, I don't have a problem with
Happy isn't it way too much because Jon Favreau was like, people liked me. I'm gonna do an action sequence. Don't give Happy an action sequence. I don't think that moment works.
I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
On the list of problems I have with this movie, that's like middle.
I'll take so much
It's
more.
not high,
I'll
it's
take
not
way
low.
more Happy than I'll take of Mickey Rourke. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm sure if Mickey Rourke and Downey liked each other, perhaps it could have been better.
No, I just don't think the script's very good.
Probably part of the reason was that they had a script.
Yeah,
They had a script for this one. I think Justin Hammer is pretty good in this film.
he's awesome.
I really
He's
like
actually
Sam
one
Rockwell.
of him.
You got it.
Sam Rockwell.
There you go.
Sam Rockwell and Robert Downey Jr. I like their chemistry, and the fact that it's kind of, this is gonna sound weird, but anti-chemistry because obviously they play well off each other, but their characters hate each other.
Yeah,
They play off
He
each other
doesn't
really
like
well.
Justin Hammer doesn't call Tony. He calls him Anthony.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, hey, I know what your real name is. I know what you like to be called, but I'm not gonna call you that because I hate you.
Elon Musk is in this movie.
Yeah, that was a flashback.
That was what the. We now know he's like an international superstar, but back then you're like, who's that guy?
Yeah, that was real weird.
Real life Tony Stark.
He 100%.
Justin Hammer's Sam Rockwell as him still holds up excellently.
100%.
In many ways, I wish there were a version of this script where it focused only on the Tony dealing with his dad stuff / the demon in the bottle story, and because you're never going to get it with Disney.
Yeah.
And also, Justin Hammer had instead, it's different from the comics, but they adapted a competition story to Stark for him. And he was just full on the villain, and he was like, he work whatever you want, but don't have the Mickey Rourke character. Have something smaller.
Right.
Not a present
you
big
think-
actor, but have Justin Hammer be trying to do the competition, and his tech stuff goes wrong.
Do you think
Yeah.
maybe because the first movie was kind of about like a weapons guy, they didn't want another just an evil weapon guy?
Well, I think have Justin Hammer play Rhodey against him.
Yeah.
That would have been more
Like a
interesting, and
mini
him
civil war between them.
have
yeah.
him actually be crafty enough to have done his own thing. I'm just saying it needed to be simpler. It's too complicated, and too convoluted.
He's kind of a bumbling fool.
which is
Hammer?
fun. But I
Yeah.
wish But if you give him some of the beats that they gave to Mickey Rourke and take Mickey Rourke out of the movie, he could have been engaging and something to watch, and the movie would have been more focused.
To be honest,
would have had the
yeah.
Tony story and the Justin Hammer stuff.
Yeah, if you do that, if you look at the movie and you just take out Mickey Rourke and just add a little more Justin Hammer, the movie's the exact same.
Yes.
Yeah,
But probably better.
or even better. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Outside of that one single scene, the only scene that Tony Stark
The prison
and,
scene?
and Mickey Rourke
That's
have together.
good.
That's
Yeah.
a great scene.
It's the only one,
but
where
it
they're
doesn't
like,
mean anything because it never amounts to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this film's biggest failing is that we never got more Justin Hammer.
Yeah, I agree.
I think this film's biggest failing is the fact that it's trying to cram in two villains and doesn't give enough time to either.
Yeah.
Sure, but what I mean to say is, you know,
That goes with the Justin Hammer thing, but like the Mickey Rourke thing is a massive failing.
right. But what I mean to say is the fact that this film did so poorly critically lent to the fact that we've never seen Justin Hammer again.
Except in that one shot.
Yeah, which was
I think
real
him
cool.
making an element that his father discovered is a neat idea. I don't think it's executed well at all. I think it's really sweet that it's like, here's something for you, son, that I couldn't do.
Well,
that
you hate. Okay, hold on. First impressions. When you first saw Iron Man 2, if you remember, how did you
I
feel?
think I liked it
Well, I liked
when I
it.
first saw it.
I had Phantom Menace. Like, I'm tricking myself into
No,
liking
again,
it.
I can tell you 100%.
Yeah.
I was just happy that they were expanding the universe, which is entirely what they wanted you to be happy about with this film.
Yeah.
because
I
we
was
get
happy
more
that
of-
we got Nick Fury,
we get more of Shield.
that we got Black Widow. I was
yeah.
and that Coulson's
Yeah.
going to Thor's hammer. I was like, dang, this was really great. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, but as its own movie, it's kind of
Yeah.
not great.
Yes,
By the
as
time
an Iron Man movie.
By the time I saw Iron Man 2, I did see Iron Man again, and I watched the end credit scene. I saw the whole. So when I saw Iron Man 2, I knew that Nick Fury was going to be in it, or I knew when Nick Fury did show up. I'm like,
Well, yeah, they were
Wasn't
showing
that
him in the
trailer?
trailers.
The
Oh, yeah.
donut scene's in the trailer.
Yeah.
The stuff
Yeah.
with Nick Fury is actually pretty good.
okay,
Yeah.
well, I knew of Nick Fury. I knew that Sam Jackson was going to be Nick Fury, and what I distinctly remember is that I enjoyed Iron Man 2 a lot, but I was jazzing because at that point when we saw Thor's hammer, I was like, they're gonna be making Avengers. It's a for sure thing.
I still didn't believe it.
They can't not just show Thor
Right,
and
to
have
your-
this all interconnected and not give us the Avengers. And my dad's like, yeah, that sounds cool, man.
No,
That's
Ryan,
great.
Ryan, to your credit, if any one of these films fell,
Yeah.
we would never have gotten Avengers.
Yeah.
They always had the goodwill of Iron Man to fall back on, but if none of these movies made any money, if these films didn't make any money,
Yeah.
no Avengers.
Because like Iron Man, it's not Batman, but he's your regular dude. He's an entryway point, right? Then you start getting into World War II stuff. It's a little more niche. Then you straight get into magic aliens and
They did
Thor.
Magic Aliens first.
Switch. Yeah.
Sorry,
Thor
sorry.
came first.
Yeah, sorry, but you know what I mean. Like they start going these different genre routes, and like any one of these, you're right. If one of them failed, then the Avengers probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But every one of them was successful just enough where they get the big boys, and then the return for the sequel movies are bigger.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like, man, it worked out for everyone.
all they needed to do was get to Avengers.
Yep.
And by Iron Man 2, they knew that.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that's why Iron Man 2 is primarily a stepping stone film.
yeah, and it shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the final fight sucks
Oh,
between all the
God.
drones.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
boring.
We talked about this, and I said hands down,
So boring.
the final showdown of Iron Man 2 is the worst showdown in all of the MCU.
Yeah.
Like when the drones
Hands
start,
down and full stop. That is the worst showdown.
when the drones start turning on, it's like, oh, what's going on? Like when War Machine gets hacked for the first time, like when you see War Machine fully
Bring
suited
up your thing. Why did
See,
about- yeah.
you make that Justin Hammer who handled all that, and
Yeah.
then it's a better film. It's more concise. It's focused.
Also, why do you need drones when if you can just take over somebody else's pilot suit and like roadies?
Because drones better. Yeah, this was a... Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I brought up when we were watching the movie, I'm like, it doesn't even make sense why they would use drones if he was going to be able to hack Rhodey's suit. Why not hack all the suits with, like, actual military personnel in them? Because Tony and Rhodey can't shoot them down then.
Oh, that's a good point.
Makes it more
That would
reliability.
make it harder to counter them.
They needed cannon fodder for the
Yeah.
end of the film.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, as a plan, it makes no sense.
Yeah, but I like the fight between Rhodey and Stark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's again
the first one's
Awkwardly choreographed.
First
Yeah.
one's pretty decent.
yeah.
I have to say,
Their dynamic makes it work.
Yeah, I agree.
You know the scene where it's his birthday party and he's
That's what we're talking
and
about,
he's
yeah.
wearing his suit.
Mhm.
Yes.
I was watching this because I know that it's like the suit stuff is all CGI. But I'm just looking at
there are times where he's wearing a practical like plastic.
Well, at that point they were still using just the chest.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But I was like, man, I can't tell if that's practical or CGI, but that looks good.
Yeah, it's metal's a lot easier than like flesh.
Stan Lee's small cameos at the beginning as Larry King.
Larry King.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Larry.
I really like Gary Shandling.
Yeah,
as the
me
senator.
too.
That whole scene is excellent. Where it introduces Rhodey, where it introduces Hammer. You see, that's where the film
shines.
Should have been focused.
Yeah, and also
the dynamic of those three characters: Rhodey, Tony, and Hammer.
Like when they're telling us like, hey, other people might be making these suits, and Tony's like, oh yeah, here's North Korea, doesn't work. Here's Iran, doesn't work. Hey, look, there's Justin Hammer failing miserably.
No, what I like is like, Hammer, is that you, buddy? Hammer, you're on TV.
Like
that soldier survived, by the way.
Replace Mickey Rourke's. No,
that
he
dude
did
is
not.
dead.
No, I know that's the joke.
Replace Mickey Rourke's Whiplash with somebody that Hammer put out there with faulty tech, but still enough to kind of rival Tony to put enough stress on him.
And they're absolutely
you're just building everything better.
Yeah.
This film just needed to be more personal and let itself be personal,
like Spider-Man: Homecoming, where it had like a bunch of very C-list villains. You know, like
sure, Shocker.
They could have totally done that with. There's so many C-list Iron Man armor guys. They
Like
could have
Whiplash.
had like Whiplash, but actually have him be like
a C-lister, not
an actual cool
not
character.
Yeah, I think. What was the shit? I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm sorry.
It's
It's okay.
Yeah, this film.
What's the best thing about Iron Man 2?
Oh,
Sam Rockwell is Justin Hammer.
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And also, Sparks, you and I were talking about this, how because this movie came out still in the Paramount banner, when he bleeps out the "F you, Mr. Stark."
Oh,
Yes. I was saying
Disney
that there are definitely some moments in some of these earlier, specifically in Iron Man 2, but like some of these earlier MCU films, I'm like, Disney probably wouldn't have done that.
No.
Like, not so much that Disney wouldn't be ballsy enough to do it now, but certainly as launching the MCU, Disney wouldn't have done it.
One of the things I did like about, and I think the MCU under Disney is successful because of the groundwork that Paramount laid.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that we shouldn't
100%.
forget that.
100%.
One of the things I do like is the prop work that RDJ uses. Sorry, Robert Downey Jr. And I'm going to run that into the ground. And the
I have unleashed a monster.
the bit where he has it and then he puts it back in and he twists it to turn on the
then
prop,
he pops it.
but the prop won't turn on at first. So he's like,
Yeah.
and he's oh okay. I like that he just goes with that, and he clearly a prop malfunction there, but they were able to keep it in. I think that works really well.
Man, there are a lot of times where because there's that, and also when he forgot his line in Avengers where he goes, "That man is playing Galaga." He has a lot of great improv
like
moments.
we're talking shit on this movie, but like he's still great.
Yes.
Yes.
Tony
Yes.
Stark and Pepper Potts, like a lot of the character stuff.
Don Cheadle.
still
Don Cheadle
really
coming
good.
in as Rhodey is
It's just
already
like,
a
plot
much better
choices,
character.
villain choices, like a lot of.
I like well so two things about Shield I want to touch on. I love Nick Fury's bit when they're in Malibu when he says, by the way, I'll always forget that the Iron Man films take place in L.A.
California.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
always
there in
something
Randy
that
Donuts.
Yeah, that's always something that I always forget. But when he's like, so he leaves Howard Stark stuff. It's like, so you got this, right? You got this. I got an 11 o'clock. You got this. And he's like, wait, what are you doing? So I'll see you later. And then Coulson's moment, one of my favorite Coulson moments is is when he's just like, just so you know, if you try to do anything, I'm going to tase you and watch Super Nanny while you drool out into the floor. I think that's really good stuff.
Also, even Nick Fury says, "Hey, I got a situation. You, dude, my priority list. I'm full. I got a situation in the Southwest.
Oh yeah,
on here.
My world doesn't revolve around you, Tony.
Yeah."
Yeah. What is the one?
I actually think the Southwest at the time period he's referring to, if I'm correct, you can tell me, Brandon, is the Hulk.
I think so.
Because he says the Southwest region and southwest of LA. That's going to be down near Brazil, Peru.
No, Brazil is on the opposite end. Brazil is closer to New York.
Down near South America.
Thor hasn't happened at this point because the beginning
all that happens is the hammer fell.
Yeah.
And that's later in the film.
So that could be what happens. It could be also.
It doesn't matter.
It could also be something else.
It could just be a throwaway line.
According to the comic, it's definitely.
Well, the comic doesn't address that.
Leslie Bibb comes back as Christine Eberhardt.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. This film could also be subtitled Iron Man 2. The mute button's real cool, ain't it?
Oh yeah.
Every other sequence, where there is a screen, Tony Stark is either saying or pushing mute, and it bugged me after
Is
a
he?
while.
I don't even
every single time.
I don't even know what you're talking
There's
about.
there's a bit where he's like, so what does this look like? Oh, blah 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 blah. Pepper comes in, mute. When they're on the plane,
he mutes Gary Shandling on the plane.
Oh,
he mutes
okay,
Bill
yeah,
O'Reilly
yeah.
in The Office.
Oh yeah,
That's right. Okay, I see
And
what you're
he
saying.
mutes Mickey Rourke towards the end, before he goes to the Stark Expo. So I'm just like, ooh. Oh, Olivia Munn's in this movie.
Yes. she
Yep,
is.
she is. There's a lot of people talking over each other at once in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when it's Sam Rockwell and Robert Downey Jr. in a room together.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, man, it should have just been these
Yeah.
guys. Don Cheadle and him do it pretty well, too.
Yeah.
They work together.
Yeah, they
just
really
do.
They're good. He's good. I don't think Terrence Howard is good as good as improv.
No.
No, he's garbage.
I think Jeff Bridges had said like the improv was difficult for him in Iron Man, but he was able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think Terrence Howard ever got to that point.
No.
The suit-up scene remains awesome.
Yeah.
You know which one I
Oh,
mean.
The
one right
suitcase
out of
one?
the suit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the suitcase. Yeah.
That was
yeah,
real
like
cool.
I still think it's super dumb that like that's our villain, but it still gives us like a really badass scene of a suitcase Iron Man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, again, we have an unnecessary happy sequence.
I'm
okay,
fine
you know
with
what?
that
You know
one.
what?
I'm fine with that one.
That sequence when both Happy and Pepper go into the racetrack, I'm like, why did Pepper need to be there? Happy has the suit.
Pepper's
He's
the
the
CEO.
driver. So don't put your CEO in harm's way.
Hey man, they're going to a big fancy gal. It's Elon Musk is there. It's where the fancy people go.
But Pepper doesn't need to go on the racetrack.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Why Pepper?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, why is she?
I agree with you. There are many levels of problems.
Actually, that bothers me.
Thank you.
Why are you putting yourself in harm's way?
Why doesn't Happy just go? Happy has the suitcase.
That's a great point. And she even
Because-
handcuffs herself to it.
She doesn't have it. She doesn't have it until the end. Till the end of that sequence. She does not hold on to the suitcase. Happy is forever holding onto the suitcase, even when he is driving.
He's happy is the one who is handcuffed to
Yeah.
the suitcase.
Pepper never ever needs to be in that moment.
Hey guys, I think this movie might be bad.
I hate that. I hate it so
no,
much.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
The Rhodey versus Tony scene, while neat, it's definitely really awkward.
It's clumsy.
Yeah.
It's
and
clumsy.
and clumsy looking.
Definitely.
The drunk scene isn't expanded enough in the plot to matter. It's just kind of like a, hey, we know that kind of happens in the comics a little, so here's a, hey.
I almost wish they just didn't do anything with alcohol because
I
like
agree.
fans expect that. But again, also people are allowed to drink once and go a little crazy.
But people are still complaining they've never done the demon in the bottle story.
because it is a core aspect of that character that adds a lot more tragedy to him. That
If
they
you
just
look at
ignore.
if you look at it like the Iron Man films are a lot of Tony like learning to overcome his vices, this was the time to do it.
Yeah.
And again, I go back to if they'd focused on just a competition between him and Hammer and then the
Yeah.
Tony and figuring out the Palladium killing him thing, the film would be a lot more concise. You could have the room
They
to have
also
done that story.
they kind of replaced
that Tony was letting himself even go so far as in the plot to allow Rhodey and Hammer to have been putting Tony in a bad spot because he was allowing himself to be because of drinking too much.
Yeah. They kind of replaced the drinking stuff with PTSD in Iron Man 3,
Yes,
which
they
is
did.
definitely.
a pretty good part of that movie, I think.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I know how you feel about the Howard Stark stuff, and I'm going to let you talk about it a second, where it goes.
Oh,
But I like
I
all
like
the
the-
old footage moments.
I do too.
You and I both agreed on
Yeah.
that. Like, we like all the
old, like,
connecting with
Disney-esque.
Howard, and he's like,
Yeah.
I don't get that impression of my dad, that he never told me he liked me, didn't tell me he loved me.
Yeah.
But he's got all these moments, and then that old footage where he's talking to Tony, he's like, Tony, I'm limited by the technology of my time. However, I agree with you, Ryan. Discovering the element is stupid.
Yeah.
And not only was there an element that his father discovered that he couldn't create due to technology, this specific element is the thing that's going to keep him alive with his arc reactor.
And so he
it's
hit
so
it.
coincidental.
And so he hit it in the designs
in a
of the Stark
map
Expo.
in a map of an expo. Are you what the fuck? No, I don't care how smart you are. That's too crazy.
And not
That's
only,
too crazy.
And not only that, the placard says the key to the future.
Because
It's so dumb.
And so Fury comes and he leaves all this stuff from Howard, but it's all the footage, but it has nothing else in it. And it's like, if you're S.H.I.E.L.D. and Howard trusts you this much, why wouldn't he have just locked in a thing that said, for Tony, how to make a new element?
And it is a sweet moment.
Yeah, the idea is that the element isn't supposed to save. Like, he doesn't have the foresight to think the element's going to save Tony's life. He's trying to create this element that Tony would then go on to do things with, like create unlimited energy.
That
course.
doesn't
things
bother
like
me.
that, yeah.
The
It's
fact
the fact that
it's
it is the
tied
cure.
directly to his cure bothers me.
Right.
Because that is so coincidental and so like destiny-like. Where I'm like, that's just some bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's necessary. I mean, I think in the defense of this screenplay, I think it's necessary to give Tony that urgency to create that element that would then.
I agree about the poisoning. It's just the execution is poor.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't want to.
Actually, I noticed that this time when I watched it, and not the first time, obviously, because this was before Captain America, before Coulson said, "Hey, I'm a huge fan." He pulls out that shield thing, that Art Deco shield.
What's this doing here?
He's like, "What's this?" Because
he's a fan.
Yeah, he's like, "You a fan too?" And he's like, "Oh no, give me that!" And he's like, perfectly level. And Coulson's like,
"I'm gonna use it as a wedge."
Disrespectful mother effer.
No, I do like I think Clark Gregg and RDJ work really well together.
Stop
Yeah,
it!
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
You didn't say it.
I think they work really well together, especially in that scene. And one of the things that always kind of like touches my heart a little bit is when he answers the phone towards the end and he thinks it's Coulson.
Yeah,
because he's friends and he wants it to be Coulson.
How's the Land of Enchantment?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I like that.
I did like that too.
There's a great line. I forget like the exact quote, but Tony's like, "Well, you guys really need me," and Coulson's like, "Not as much as you think."
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, oh damn. Okay,
We need you. Yeah, you do. More than you know. Not that much.
not that much.
I love Justin Hammer's very obvious spray tan in the dinner
Oh,
scene.
his palms are
yeah.
so
His
orange.
pants.
Yeah, he's so good.
That's a really great touch.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really like it. He's like, I was down out of country, so of course I got tanned.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you didn't. No, you
Let's
didn't.
go outside, dude.
He's so good in this movie.
He is
I
really
wish
good.
they used him better.
Yeah,
I could lose the whole Mickey Rourke thing.
Yeah, me too. He's probably the weakest bit.
But I
of this
want
film.
my bird.
I want
My bird.
My bird.
No, what are you
Hey,
talking about?
man.
This is the
And I-
bird.
Don't get so attached to things.
And I hate the final fight sequence where he's just in this giant
It's
suit.
lame.
It's
It's
so
the
dumb.
lamest
See,
showdown.
Again, with his final suit is a mix between Whiplash and the Crimson Dynamo, that's who his character is as in the comics. So I'm like, why don't you just make him the Crimson Dynamo, who's a much cooler character than a dude with whips?
And we'll get to it in
Whips are just a bad plan.
We'll get into it on our second part, but much of Iron Man 3 is a response to Iron Man 2.
Well,
And I
he-
love that movie.
I
baby.
want to
Right.
rip Tony's stomach. That's what you want.
Yeah.
In general, the plot really meanders in that last hour towards its conclusion.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like
yeah.
bouncing around without any real meaning to anything.
Yeah.
Like Pepper, I get you want to stay and make sure everyone leaves the park safe and soundly, but can you do it somewhere where there aren't
Oh,
deadly
first appearance
drones?
of Peter Parker's in this movie.
Oh
Yeah.
I totally forgot
Son of
about
a
that.
bitch.
They've retconned that.
They did. But can she maybe go to a place in the park that isn't surrounded by killer robots?
That's how
That might blow
when
up.
we were watching Incredible Hulk, we were talking about the guy who is at the college and he gets the pizza.
Yeah.
And he's later a teacher in Spider-Man Homecoming. It's like, do you think that's
Martin
the same
Starr.
character? And I'm like, if the little boy in Iron Man 2 is Peter Parker, then this is the same
That's
dude.
Yeah.
comedian Martin Starr.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
100% the
exactly.
same
Mike
character.
Mottola said that.
Yeah.
Actually said that on the
Yeah.
episode last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me tell you guys when. Okay, you go first. Yeah.
I wish one of the many things I wish this movie had changed is was also the good time to do more in developing the relationship between Tony and Pepper.
yes,
And
absolutely.
it's there, but it's not there enough.
Yeah.
Again, another thing where it's like you're juggling too many balls in the air.
yeah.
Yeah. I think the relationship in one is like real strong, and
It
then
is.
I think two, it's like it kind of.
It was supposed to be the next step, and it doesn't do all that
Yeah.
it
I
should
like
do.
how like the scene at the Disney concert hall where you think they're gonna you think they will, but they don't, and then Tony goes to grab a drink, and then shit
That's a
happens.
really cute moment. Yeah.
But this time it's like it feels like Pepper is like 99% angry. Like when he finally gets
well, she has a complete right to be.
she does obviously. But one of my favorite
I was
parts.
going to make you an omelet and tell you, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she's like, "What? You're dying?"
There's
and Tony's like, "God damn it!"
I didn't have time.
there's good moments between them, but the development of them could be more, especially
Yeah.
because this is kind of the crux of where we're supposed to see their relationship start.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I want to talk about two things, two imagery, two bits of scenery I like in this bit. I like Mickey Rourke on the phone with the two guys singing in the background.
That's
I
good.
think
That's
that
a good
looks really
moment.
cool.
and his bird on his shoulder.
Yeah, I think that looks really cool. And
Yeah.
then the other one is I like how Jon Favreau frames the conversation of the reveal that RDJ was dying, and he it's just on screen.
Jumping off the two screens that
yeah,
Black
yeah.
Widow's looking at.
He moves the camera between the two screens as they're talking, and it's clearly like an improv moment. I think that's played so well.
I do
like,
too.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that bit a lot.
Yeah,
Those two work well
also,
together.
one thing I noticed I caught is when Black Widow and Pepper Potts go up to Justin Hammer saying, "Hey, stop the suits! What the heck are you doing?" And they're trying to go in, and he's like, "No, get out of here." He turns to his guard, and he's like, "Man, we gotta get these bitches out of here." Black Widow's like, "Oh no, screw you!" Punches him in the face and takes over.
Yeah.
This is in many ways the MCU's Legends of Tomorrow season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It just like I feel like if they could go back, they would alter things to fit more cohesively.
Yeah.
But they just jumbled too much.
There is a bit towards the end that always kind of frustrates me. And especially the rumor I heard about who was supposed to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp. When he says, "You'll be seeing me again." As it being
Justin
hauled
Hammer.
up, I'm like, clearly
Yeah.
they wanted to use you again.
Yeah.
Damn it!
Why
Why is this movie not good?
I'll say, so up to this point we had Iron Man and Incredible Hulk, and then Iron Man 2 came out. After I saw this, I was like, oh no. Because we had 2 winners up to this point, and I was like, oh man. Like, this had me worried, because I know Captain America and Thor were in production at that point. And I'm like, I didn't think they could be bad.
Did you really feel that worried when you saw it?
No, not worried like it was going to ruin it, but I'm like, so they can be bad. I didn't think they could
But you were saying earlier you had Phantom Menace effect. So did you feel that initially, or did that set in after a couple of months?
I think after a couple
Yeah.
months. And then like the trailers for the movies came out, I'm like, these look good, but like I got Iron Man.
So the post-credit singer is Coulson arriving.
At the Hammer.
Yeah.
at the side of Mjolnir's Landing.
Is it New Mexico?
New Mexico, yeah.
Yeah.
So then the last film on our journey,
Thor.
I think this is an underrated.
First impressions?
I think this is. I've always thought this film was pretty good.
I
but
do too.
Even going back, I think this film is an underrated gem in the MCU.
I not. Super,
I don't know if it's. Man, I think Incredible Hulk is underrated. I think this is moderately.
Of those two, I think Incredible Hulk is more underrated.
Yeah.
But they're both deserve more credit for sure.
I feel much in the same way about Incredible Hulk that I do with Thor.
Yeah. I think
very similar.
besides Iron Man
feelings.
2, I think most of the Phase 1 is kind of underlooked.
Yeah.
Even though Iron Man is the first one, and it's
I would argue
celebrated.
that first Avenger and Iron Man probably hold up pretty well in most people's minds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like
I just don't see a lot of people.
I'm talking like casual
about,
fans. Like I'm talking
Yeah.
like my mom or that kind of thing. Like I think she still thinks back on Iron Man and First Avenger a lot more and
Really?
remembers things from it because it sticks with her longer.
I don't know many regular people who at the time were big Captain America people though.
Yeah,
I think it took until Winter Soldier to really get there.
Oh man, no! I definitely know a lot of people who like First Avenger. They were jonesing for it because
Wow.
they really enjoyed literally jonesing because they felt like it was a superhero Indiana Jones film.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that those two films held a lot more sway with people than the
Definitely
other
more
three
than
in
Thor
memory.
did.
Yeah.
So Thor is the shortest of the MCU
Oh, yeah.
films.
It was
Definitely.
7 minutes long.
It's,
An hour 55.
Yeah, it's an hour 55, and I think I think it's paced very well.
I did too.
I really like.
Dutch angles and all.
I actually do really like how this film is shot. I'll be honest. I think the cinematography, especially in Asgard, is gorgeous.
I do think there are a few times where he's too tight on the faces.
I agree.
I'll agree with that. But again, the cinematography in Asgard is so good. And okay,
Go
good.
on.
No,
Go on.
I was just gonna say the parallels between the design of Asgard and the design of New Mexico really help. Just kind of the cinematography of this movie. The arc of Thor is so sweet, concise, and I think really well
Yeah,
executed.
and I think the same thing for Loki in the opposite way, where you see this person who thought he was this one thing and feels betrayed by his father,
Yeah.
and then
I
slowly.
kind of agree.
Yeah.
I kind of agree on
Do you
Loki.
not like Loki in this?
No, it's not that. It's that I don't understand what he's trying to achieve from moment to moment.
That's fair. I think I can agree
In
with
a
that.
sense, a sense where I don't. I'm okay with me not understanding. I don't feel like they understood.
Yeah.
You know what?
And
I'll-
that bothers me.
And I'll challenge that a bit. I think that he feels much in the same way that Thor does.
I think he's blinded by his emotions,
I-
so he doesn't really might have a plan. He's just going off.
No,
his-
I actually think Thor and Loki have the same idea, but they go about it in two different ways. I think Thor and Loki both want to destroy Jotunheim.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think that is the goal for both of them, and they both feel that that'll give them their fathers, that will give them Odin's appreciation.
And Thor learns not to do that. Where
Thor learns not
Loki's
to-
like, oh, I have to do this.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on. I don't know to Sparks' point that it does it well. I don't know if in Loki's case it does it well.
I don't. I'll be pretty specific here. I'm not. Nothing tracks with me after he finds out he's a frost giant with how he feels about it. After the initial scene, nothing until he's facing Thor at the end, and it's the part where Thor says, "This is madness," and he's just like, "Is it? Is it?" And it's like, "Do you know what you're doing?"
See, again,
I guess, and
I
like
think
I said,
he's blinded by his emotions.
and
That's why he doesn't know.
I'm okay with it. Again, I'm referring to like I'm okay with not understanding it. I'm okay with Loki not understanding it. I get the impression that they didn't even understand what they were going for because I feel like it's never clear.
Yeah.
Loki's a little jumbled narratively in this film.
Sure. You know who I think is really good in this movie? Anthony Hopkins. Boy, that's going to be really hard to lower the edit.
Hell yeah. Full power of the Odin Force.
Yeah, I think Anthony Hopkins.
Did it look like a penis though?
No.
Damn.
I think Anthony Hopkins is real good in this movie, and it's the subtlety in his performance that you could tell that he gave a shit in this movie.
In this one, yeah.
Sorry, after we just went it's subtlety in
no,
his I agree with you. I'm
Track
laughing
that
at
moment though. Track that whole sequence when you see his kind of like quiet rage bubbling in, and then Loki steps in, and that's when he's just like, okay, no, shut up. I'm the father. I'm lecturing.
I'm not contending you. I was saying the humor of just when.
Sure, I get that, but I wanted to talk about that moment because that moment is incredibly emotionally charged for all three actors involved.
Like all of those scenes with Odin up until he falls over, they're all showing a different range of extreme emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's crowning Thor, he doesn't want to because Thor's not ready. But like you see the tears in his eyes, like, and he's taken such a long time to say the words.
Yeah,
and luckily he doesn't have to.
My firstborn.
Yeah, and he's like looking around the room like with tears in his eyes. And then
he's like, oh yeah, they don't know about Hela. I should probably.
That's a spoiler,
shit.
buddy. That's a spoiler.
Well, not
and then
yet.
and then with Loki, like he's getting weaker and weaker, and he's like, I just want to protect you, son. Like I wish I had a better answer.
Why do you twist my words?
Yeah, oh, I gotta go to sleep now. Bye.
But that moment, man, oh god, that moment with between him and Thor, and
where he's like,
tell
me,
and the when he's in the moment with him and Thor, when he's, I now take from you your power.
Oh yeah.
And yours, and I cuss you, and it like throws, and then when he throws in the like,
I'm gonna rip off these two. What are these?
Subplanets, I think.
Yeah, no, the
You're
the armor,
unworthy.
It feels like that was Anthony Hopkins improving.
Because I don't know.
Because what it feels like to me is like Anthony Hopkins is like, I'm angry. I need to do something to express how angry I am. And he's just ripping shit off of Thor.
I would say that those things are kind of like Asgardian war decorations.
No, they're nothing. They're nothing.
They're just part of the
But still,
costume.
he's like,
Their costume.
You're what?
Do you know why they're there? Because they're there in the comics.
Yeah,
That's why they're there.
You're unworthy. You're unworthy, and I cast you out.
Did we cover first impressions?
No.
I was about
first
to say
impressions.
my
If you remember Thor.
Yeah, I was about to say my first impressions, but
I remember.
What do you think of our DJ in this, Ben?
he wasn't in it.
Who's RDJ?
Oh, Robert Downey Jr.
Got it. Thank you.
2011. This was the year after I graduated high school. Okay. I was the only person in my friend group excited about Thor.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people thought Thor looked real dumb. Like, wow, why am I going to go watch this medieval times bullshit? And I'm like, guys, I promise you, I think it's going to be better than that. And luckily, I thought it was.
I saw Thor, I want to say 3 times in theaters, once in 3D.
Ooh, I definitely saw it in 3D because I was dumb and I was like, I'm going to see all these movies in 3D.
I think some of my friends were like, man, this looks stupid. I'm like, but guys, it's Thor. He's the God of Thunder. It's like, yeah, we get, but
people who don't know comics don't know.
Yeah,
what
they
that,
do, because
yeah.
I had to tell them, I was like, guys, Thor's in the Avengers. Because of we're getting the Avengers. We got one more movie. That's Captain America. Then we're going to get the Avengers. And then, once again,
they hadn't announced Avengers at that point, right?
I think
they had.
They had.
Yeah,
okay.
they had.
Yeah, when Thor and Captain America were coming along, we knew the Avengers was coming behind.
Because at the end of the credits scene of Thor, it says Thor will return
in the Avengers.
Right. I just don't remember if they had officially announced the film was in production at that point.
They had, yeah.
Yeah, because it was that year at Comic-Con they announced Avengers, and then Thor was coming out, right? Or did it get announced at Comic-Con the year before?
I don't remember.
But the point is, I had a bunch of Casey casuals come up to me and like, does Thor look good? I don't think it looks good. I'm like, go, guys, we should probably go see Thor. And they're like, yeah, but Avengers. Think of Avengers.
So Ben's whole thing is that he was just waiting for the team-up movie.
Yes.
And he was like, these individual movies are whatever.
No,
I need the team-up movie. Because that's
after-
been the thing you've said every single one of these films is like, oh, but we'll get Avengers.
Because that was the big thing.
I have a feeling you don't remember your first impressions.
No,
and you're kind of just vamping.
I saw Thor 3 times in movies. I really liked Thor. I like Thor a lot.
I believe you, Ben.
I know you like Thor a lot. Thor's a good movie.
I'm just saying that I knew what was coming up next.
So,
Brandon, you and I knew what was coming up next. So how could I not be excited?
Joss Whedon was announced to pen and direct July 2010. So it was actually earlier than the movie's released.
Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
So it was right around the time of Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so we knew this movie was coming, come hell or high water.
I
Yes.
still didn't believe it, especially like Joss Whedon's like the best possible choice, and I'm like, this is too good to be true.
He was at the time.
Yeah, yes, it was. Hey, that first movie's still great, but
That first movie is great.
and like I was still just like, I'll see it when I believe.
Hey, the
it.
Warriors 3 are great here.
I think so.
This is the best.
yeah.
Brandon, I know we want this movie and Thor: The Dark World. The Warriors 3 shine a lot.
No, they don't.
Nope,
What are you talking
absolutely
about in
not.
the Dark World? No, they don't.
They shine. They have good moments. In
Ben, like, two of them are. One of them is like in the beginning of the film and then left behind.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, that's
like,
right.
For real,
And then
though.
and then two of them are just used as additions to help Loki escape.
Let's not talk about Dark World.
I'm just saying,
we don't have
like,
time.
because it was literally my note.
Yeah.
The Warriors 3 are good here.
They are.
It's a shame they're not used better in Dark
You're right.
World.
Yeah.
You're right.
I
It's once
think,
again.
I
in my
think Josh
defense-
Dallas. I think Josh Dallas is the only weak one. If
he has
only,
the least to do.
if only because I prefer Zachary Levi as
Yo,
that
he's
character.
totally flirting with Darcy right before they leave at the end.
Yeah.
100%.
I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
catch that
Hell
till this
yeah.
time, and I'm like, oh man,
The-
what?
The fight on Jotunheim is really cool.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's really rad.
Run along, little prince.
You mean how it's the
Damn.
same fight scene from the beginning of
Thor Ragnarok?
Thor Ragnarok,
But
except
reversed
it's an
in
ice.
a,
Yeah.
different in a
Snow.
different realm.
Yeah, I like the bit where he's yeah, the bit is just like running along with and he's just like and Loki's like
Oh,
damn.
It is a solid opening to the film with Thor getting hit by a van and then jumping backwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a good way to start rather
Yes.
than just starting at 956 AD when
Uh-huh.
Odin was fighting.
Yeah.
That was a good choice.
Although I really like that sequence also.
Asgard looks great in this film.
Man, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Asgard never looked better than in this movie.
I asked you that exact question. Like,
Yeah,
so now that
that's
we've
why
seen-
that's why I
yeah.
started paying attention to it after you asked me while we were watching it, and I'm like, yeah, it looks the best in this film.
It has the most style.
I think
It's more
that
gold.
It's
yeah.
it's very it looks like a. It looks unique,
Yeah,
and in
shiny.
Dark World, in Dark World even more than Ragnarok, I'd argue. But in Dark World, it looks very generic.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in
Um,
this one, it's very shiny.
The costumes stand out too.
I love the
I really like
costumes.
the costume design in this movie. I
Yeah.
Oh,
really
yeah.
do. I think the
I
costume
love
design
the
in this movie
Frost
is really good.
look.
Like I love it when the Warriors, when Sif and the Warriors 3 are walking down the street, and those guys are like,
You got Robin Hood, Xena, and
yeah, no, but then one of
Ren Fair.
them like over is like, is there a Renaissance
Yeah.
fair in town?
the scene where they're outside of the door of the diner and they're just like frozen.
Found
in,
you!
Found you!
Found you!
Man, that's a good laugh.
But even then, when Thor first goes, he's like, "This mortal throne has grown weary. I require sustenance."
One of my favorite lines in this movie comes from one of the Warriors 3, which is, "Do not mistake my appetite for apathy."
I love that line.
That's one of my favorite lines.
And you know what? But the moment the Warriors 3 walk into the banquet hall that Thor has just tipped over, you get immediately who these people are and their relation with Thor. That script is so strong when they walk in because you just see what happened.
Vandrel, here's a fact about you. Lady Sif, here's something cool. Like, we're learning about everyone. yeah.
Much like it's cool to look back and see how far like characters like Coulson or Steve have come. Looking at Chris Hemsworth's performance of Thor from here up to now
Yeah.
is really something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those
Because you've
bleached eyebrows.
I'd argue with him more than anyone else in the
Has
MCU.
improved.
You have watched an actor grow.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
like
Definitely.
as an actor, he has grown.
What about Scarlett Johansson?
I mean,
I think she's definitely gotten better.
no, she's definitely gotten better, but she was pretty much. I think a lot of that was just direction and writing in Iron Man 2 because she was pretty on it once Avengers hit.
Yeah.
I'm saying like Chris Hemsworth improved each time he came back to the role.
That's true.
You really watched an actor get better and better every
he
time
brought
you were
something
seeing
new
him.
to the role every single time. He was. I was watching a little quick blurb on Movies Anywhere that they just had like this 10th anniversary of Thor,
Wow.
and it was. And he was talking about it was like, yeah, I was able to do something different each time.
I think what it is that when this movie hit, I loved him as Thor because I thought he quintessentially really well defined Thor from the comics.
Oh, yeah.
By Thor Ragnarok, he has defined his own stamp on Thor.
Yeah.
And that's
a good
the
take,
growth, and that's really awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like the other actors, a lot of them, they said this is my take right from the
Yeah.
bat. He had to like grow from the beginning of like
Yeah.
what the comics were and what he wanted to. do.
This film also. I think the supporting cast is really good in this movie.
I agree.
I think even Darcy.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
even Darcy. I think the whole supporting cast.
I love.
Is great.
I forgot how funny
Sitwell?
Stellan Skarsgård.
Sitwell first
Yeah.
appearance. Sitwell.
Yes.
Yeah. Selvig's really good, and he's a mainstay throughout the series too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just love how. I always love the scene when they're in the bar and they're talking, and then they're drinking the Boilermakers, and he looks over at Thor, and Thor's like putting it down. He's like, "Oh man, I can't let this
Competition,
kid,
yeah.
I can't let this young gun
What is
drink me under the
what is
table."
I still don't think you're the god of thunder.
But you should be.
Yeah. What happened? We drank, we fought. He made his ancestors proud.
Yeah.
Oh, and like the moment. So I want to talk about it. This really good moment that we just kind of glossed over when he goes to get the hammer and he can't lift it.
Oh, he just drops to the ground.
And that moment where he's like that
Screams
moment
at
of
the sky.
Defeated.
absolute defeat that you just see him encapsulate. Is such a good moment.
His scream at the sky first is real good
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. And then
That
Hawkeye's
shot,
there.
you see him just like clenching his fist and shouting at the sky. I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Hawkeye and Thor is better than Black Widow and Iron Man 2.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Dead silence.
It's small, but I agree with it.
Yeah, but Clint Barton doesn't do the cool thing where he puts his legs on top of someone's head and does a cool flip like Black Widow does. So I'm gonna give it to ScarJo.
I think Renner gets some good lines. Are you gonna send more guys at him, or
Starting to root for him.
I'm starting to root for him. Yeah.
Yep.
There are some great comedic bits in this movie, like Thor getting hit with the van when they're trying to go look for him from the hospital. The seconds walking right behind it, they hit him again.
Oh, not again.
And then
I'm not trying to do this.
the moment in the pet store, like there's a lot of great comedy in this moment.
Yeah.
That definitely was absent. Dark World.
It comes from him
Fish
playing
out of water.
it comes from him playing a straight man,
Yeah.
Yes,
and I think
And it
that-
works
that
really well.
I need a horse. We don't have those. They're just cats, dogs, birds. They give me one of
I
those
like this
large enough to
coffee.
ride.
another crash.
And like you see him in the moment in those moments grow. And it's only the moment that it's only after the night that he spends with Jane that he realizes, well, I'm here forever.
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
be
this
me.
there's a lot of great emotion in this movie.
Yeah.
I to this day, like one of the standout moments for me is from him trying to get the hammer, and then into the room where he's being interrogated by Coulson. Then Loki shows up.
Oh,
I
that's such a
love
good
that
That is
moment.
an
good scene.
excellent scene.
Can I come home? It's like mother has forbidden it.
That is an excellent scene.
So good because you see his heart
Yeah.
shatter.
And that's
and the,
Yeah.
and
that's
the
where-
respect he has for Loki in that moment. Because he's like, I understand.
And that's where
did
he
what you
that's
could,
where he
brother.
learns to be better because he's like Loki's like apologizing and Thor's like, no, I'm sorry, brother.
yeah.
Like this is my
Or
fault.
Thor even saying like, thank you for coming.
Because in many ways, even though Loki's lying to him, Thor's correct. It is his fault.
Yeah.
You know, it's still a genuine, like, it's a great heart-to-heart moment.
Yeah.
And then when his friends,
Even if it is one-sided.
and then when his friends show up, and they're like, "Dude, your dad's not dead. He's just in the Odin sleep." And he's like, "Oh no!"
Get that
But
destroyer
another
armor.
thing we were talking about when we were watching the movie,
The Destroyer looks
Sparks-
real good.
Destroyer does look good. Was Idris Elba as
I wanted to
Heimdall.
bring him up because again, like because from Thor Ragnarok, he's very much a Taika Waititi character. Where here he is very solemn and he has like he's very monotone. He's very much like an
They didn't
ageless-
know what they had with him, and I think that with that actor, I think Idris Elba becoming a bigger star after this movie impacted how he was used in the later films.
I like that take on the character, and I kind of wish he would stay that way. But like again, it's a character evolving, so it's fine.
Sure.
But I like the stoic voice, and he just never raises it. And
Yeah, I like the bits in the Bifrost when he's the bits where he's explaining how the Bifrost works. It doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
No. it doesn't.
This is also we talked about this in our Thor Ragnarok review, but the staff can be used to open the Bifrost.
Yeah.
This movie...
I think that's just Odin being mega strong.
Loki does it.
Oh,
Yeah. This
Super staff.
movie is very bright and colorful.
yes,
Yes.
And I really appreciate
And
that.
good soundtrack.
And a
Yeah.
good score, yes.
got a
That's
good
another...
a good theme.
all of the films we were talking about today all had pretty good scores outside of Iron Man and Iron Man 2.
Yeah. Yes.
For some reason, both of those movies, not great scores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the Thor soundtrack.
Which is a bummer. Yes, I think the Thor soundtrack is great. It's a shame that the theme didn't stick around.
No, it does return in Ragnarok though.
It does a little,
Yeah.
but it's a shame it wasn't a more consistent... We know this,
Yes.
that the themes aren't
Yeah.
present enough in the films. That's a big problem with the MCU.
For interconnectivity, there's a Bruce Banner reference talking about gamma radiation.
Yes, the
There's
pioneer in gamma radiation.
There's also actually a reference to Ant-Man. The we found out later, but the person that Selvig emails, Hank Pym.
Cool, I can believe that.
Oh,
I believe it.
I believe it.
It's like
It's a small thing.
it's a small thing.
Stan Lee's driving the truck to pull out the hammer.
Did it work?
Did it work?
J. Michaels Krasinski.
J. Michael Straczynski.
Oh,
yeah,
finds
he's
it.
there too.
Yeah.
Good comic book writer.
So something we were noticing and talking about is his eyes are super duper blue.
Oh yeah.
They're super bright, and then they vanish.
And then in the last 20 minutes of the movie, they're not.
They're just completely normal.
They just stopped doing the contact.
And it's not one scene.
What?
It's the entire rest of the movie.
It's the entire rest of the movie.
And
That's
it bothered
really
me the entire time.
And it's like, why did this happen?
Yeah, because when he first is trying to, like, the first scene where you get the look on his face where he's trying to ascend to the throne, his eyes are like
crystal bright blue, like beautiful Mexican ocean water.
Yeah.
Like super clear. And then the end of the movie, they're dark blue. And like, somebody messed up here.
Someone screwed up.
So I love the bit when he sends the destroyer after Thor, and they're trying to get everyone away, and Thor says, we gotta leave, and he's trying to talk to Loki. He's like, please, brother, whatever I've done to deserve this, I'm sorry.
Take my life.
Take my life. So that, and Thor and Loki, the destroyer starts walking away, and then it just kills him. And that moment,
Backhand.
that moment is brutal. You hear the bones crack in his neck.
The destroyer design is really great.
I love the destroyer design.
The way it rotates.
That is so. When
looks
Sif
really
stabs
cool.
him, and
and
then he does a full
rotates
body
around.
rotation. Is so wicked.
It's really great.
The best part about the whole movie is when he's lying there dead, and you just hear Odin, whoever shall hold this hammer, if he be worthy. You see the hammer moving and shoots up, and he just grabs it. Lightning comes down. I'm like, let's do this shit.
I mean, that's great voiceover dubbing for the moment, but I would rather have Peter Dinklage saying, he needs the hammer.
Where's the hammer?
Where's the hammer? Tree.
He needs the ox.
That's what being dead means.
This is where we had the son of Cole.
Oh, what a good line!
yeah.
I have a shirt that says "Son of Cole."
Same.
It's a good one. Yeah. The fight with Thor when he gets his like armor look, and he summons a tornado and lifts the destroyer and destroys it.
You brought it up, like they knew how to use the hammer correctly right from the get-go.
That
was your first impression thing. You were like, as long as they use the hammer right. And the moment that the hammer was flying through and spinning around, you were like,
classic Thor thing. And I'm like,
got it.
That's a really hard thing to pull off, and they did it effortlessly.
The hammer has always been a standout in these films.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they just from the get-go knew exactly how the hammer was
sound
gonna
design
look.
of it is great and always has been.
Yeah. And one of the things I like about it, one of the things I really like is he just lays it on Loki.
Yes, that's an excellent moment where he just lays it on Loki.
It's not heavy. Loki's just not worthy to lift it.
Yeah. And then he can walk away from him. That's a really great moment. Yeah,
I like that moment.
Loki's confrontation with Thor at the end is one of the standout moments, I think, for him in this movie.
Is it?
I think there's a lot of the in-betweens don't necessarily land as well as I want them to. Specifically, I wish the scene he has with Freya was better.
Yeah,
I agree.
Considering where things go, I wish that scene was more impactful, especially because it's the first time we really spend a lot of time with her too.
I like how Loki uses the magic also, like on Jotunheim and with the doubles on the bridge. I think the little trickster god stuff.
And I think
really well.
he is a god of mischief, like the plan of bringing Laufey to the kingdom and then killing him to prove he's a hero. Like, man, that's some genius bad shit, my man.
Yeah.
Destruction of the Bifrost.
I do also really like the scene when he confronts Odin about who he is.
Yeah.
That's a great scene too.
Tell me.
Yeah.
I'm just another relic.
Yeah.
Or at the end when he's being held at the destruction of the Bifrost and Odin's holding them and he's like, I did it all for you, Father. I would have done it.
Yeah.
And
Go on.
And Odin's
And he's like Loki.
No, Loki.
Yeah.
And they just but you feel Thor's pain as Loki drops.
Yes.
And you feel Loki's pain because he let go.
Those things, that moment and the one he has earlier with Odin, that care for it makes the moment in Infinity War, Loki, Odin's son, works so well.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the full arc.
I think we mentioned that on a review for Infinity War.
Yeah. It's good.
Again,
it's
man, it's really cool starting from the beginning and knowing where we end.
Oh yeah,
because it's fully realized characters. Like again, like the MCU, it's just
nothing else like it.
There's nothing else like it. It's incredible.
Watching when I was getting my tattoo done a few weeks ago, my artist was having the Avengers play in his shop.
Nice.
So I was looking back watching the Avengers. It was about right before the Battle of New York started, and just watching that, it was like the whole fight scene on the helicarrier, and then right before, and then when Coulson does. I was just sitting there going, man, look how far we've gotten. Because when that
was only a couple of years.
Yeah, because when that came out in 2012, that was the biggest thing ever. And look where we are now.
Yeah. You're always focusing on the team-up film.
I am sorry. I like the team-up films a lot.
He just likes following RDJ. It's okay.
Who?
Oh, Robert Downey Jr.
Sorry. Thank you. No, look. So I think that's a good way to end this discussion. So looking back, like Phase 1's pretty solid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only quote unquote bad egg in that basket is
It's not
Iron
quote
Man.
unquote. It's definitely bad.
No,
Yeah.
it's
All right,
it's a
Iron
bad
Man-
It is a bad movie.
Iron Man 2.
So
That's-
Outside of the MCU, it would be like
Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite of these 5 films? What's
Iron-
your favorite of these ones?
Iron Man.
Iron Man,
First Avenger.
First Avenger, Avengers. Yeah.
No.
Although I like Thor a lot more.
I'll tell you what,
These
all
days
of these
than
movies,
I
like
used to.
I fundamentally like all these movies, even like the bad one, but I found something new to enjoy, and I think all of them, because it's been a couple years for at least some of them.
Yeah. I definitely like there was something special about the experience this time.
So like, like Thor's pretty good, Captain America's pretty good, Iron Man's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like
I would
good-
say my
good first
favorite.
phase.
I would say my favorite's Iron Man.
Mine's First Avenger. I asked our listeners
Ooh.
who what their favorites were. We got a couple of responses.
Hear
Oh,
it.
sweet.
Well, we got 4 responses from Phil Better from the Phil Better Show,
Hey, Phil Better Show.
Hey.
which is a podcast on the Pave Media network. He said Iron Man, and then the Key Thief says
Hey, Jen.
probs Iron Man or Captain America,
All right.
Good choices.
and Platypus Gone Health Nut says
Who's that?
the logo on the bottom right, because the picture is that's my girlfriend.
That's pretty good.
I got a different question. What's your favorite Stan Lee cameo of the batch?
Of these ones,
Yes, just these ones.
Incredible
oh.
Hulk.
Incredible Hulk with the soda bottle.
Actually, no. Thor.
They're all good.
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah.
good.
No, I mean like they're all good, but like
Yeah.
what was your favorite of
Yeah,
these?
that's my favorite
Stan Lee
Thor.
cameos?
The one in Thor is my favorite because he's
Think-
like, "Did I get it?"
I still imagine Stan Lee hulking out a little bit before dying, like of a heart attack.
The Incredible
Yeah.
Hulk is my
Yeah.
favorite. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. yeah.
It's Owen Wilson
That's pretty
there.
good.
Okay, so recap the viewing order that we all have agreed on at this point in our lives.
Have
And
we? Sure.
I have now.
I'm asking, is this your
This is
you changing?
me changing my
Listen,
mind on this.
Dang, because I was prepared
It's
to
the
move
year of
Incredible Hulk
change.
after
I
Iron Man
remember
2.
you texted me.
Don't negotiate with terrorists.
The conversation I think I alluded to. I don't
It's
know
okay,
if I actually
he's not
said.
the Ten Rings.
I think I said. By the way, 10 Rings gave Mickey Rourke passes to America in Iron Man 2.
Yep.
Fun fact. You texted me like you were prepared to move the Incredible Hulk, and I texted you that I was also prepared to move the Incredible Hulk,
I'm glad we came to
but
this.
in different ways. But yes, I think we're in all agreement. If you are going to watch these films in a continuity order, it would be, or a marathon order, it would be Captain America: The First Avenger, Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor.
Yes. Hypothetically, Captain Marvel will go after Captain America.
Right.
Hypothetically.
Captain movie.
we have to see it to find out how true that is.
Right. So the next special we're gonna do it in a couple of weeks. We're not gonna make these a weekly thing because God help us.
We got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah. In a couple of weeks, it's going to be Avengers, Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
That's it.
That's it.
That's part
That's it.
1.
4 films.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're doing part 1 and part 2, right? For phase 2?
Well, no.
Yeah, kinda.
The way we're doing it in continuity order,
I
we'll
can-
just do it in.
I can tell you guys how it is, but
Yeah.
we don't need to do that here.
But
Yeah, we're going up to Winter Soldier. What Brandon just said.
Yeah. So definitely watch along with us if you like. Keep emailing us your thoughts on these films.
Heck yeah.
We greatly appreciate it.
We're on the road to Endgame.
Oh my god.
Wow,
guys.
it's coming, guys.
Man.
I didn't realize we were going to be doing this thing, until like a couple weeks ago, and I'm so glad we're doing it.
Yeah, this is fun.
I'm-
I've always
I'm-
wanted to do something like
I
this.
am really glad taking the time out to sit back and enjoy these movies and just revisit them again, especially what's at the end of the road.
Yeah.
It's like, man, looking back on watching these movies, it's like, this is great. It's kind of like playing all through Kingdom Hearts again.
Yeah. Except it
it's
makes
not,
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's not as confusing.
Yeah.
So as you guys know, we as of last episode, we have a Patreon. We have some merchandise if you guys want to check those out. All linked in the descriptions.
Link down below.
Link down below. Pointing. Thank you to everyone who listens. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to Jimmy Bellucci for all your contributions. Mike Matola for your contributions. We're at Fake Nerd Pod. We're at Fake Nerd Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I've only done this for 3 years.
Yeah.
FakeNerdGuys@gmail.com. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben.
Ben Magnet 27 on Instagram and Twitter.
Right.
I'm at the Marvel Shill account, DJ Tony Snark.
Oh, did you deposit your check from Marvel?
What?
Because we're Marvel shills. We
There's
get
a-
paid by Marvel to give
there's
them
a check?
Yeah, we're paid by Marvel to give them good reviews.
I thought those were taxes. I threw them away.
It was $1 million.
Oh my god! Iron Man 2, 10 out of 10.
DJ Tony Snark.
DJ Tony Snark.
Sparks?
Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
You know where to find us. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Until next time, guys, stay fake nerds.